If it's Thursday, that means it's time for NSRLA. Welcome, race fans. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith and Cam Gillens here in the Slingshot TV booth. And tonight, we are bringing you race number 1 of the Downtown Auto Sales National Series live from the high banks and the beaches at Daytona. Daytona International Speedway sits in the heart of Florida, just a few miles from the beaches where stock car racing was born. Since it opened back in 1959, it's been one of the most iconic venues in motorsports, a place where champions are crowned, and the history of NASCAR has been written lap after lap. The track was so ambitious in scale that engineers actually had to account for the curvature of the earth when they designed it. That famous 31-degree banking was carved from dirt, dug out to form Lake Lloyd, which still shimmers right in the center of the infield. Most fans think of Daytona for the 500, but the very first race here was a 100-mile sports car event back in April of 1959. A then 18-year-old Mario Andretti was even in the field, taking some of his first laps towards a legendary career. Later that year, Lee Petty won the inaugural Daytona 500, kicking off a tradition that would shape NASCAR's history. Through the years, this track has hosted some of the sport's greatest rivalries. From Richard Petty and David Pearson to that wild 1979 Daytona 500 that pitted Petty against Yarborough and brought NASCAR into the national spotlight right there on live TV. And just to give you an idea of how massive this place truly is, you could fit Churchill Downs, Yankee Stadium, and the White House, even the Roman Coliseum inside Daytona's infield, all at once, and still have room to spare. Chris, that is a lot of real estate for these drivers to navigate, and plenty of room for trouble tonight. What are you watching for early on in this 90-lap race?
Well, this is a new season, and with a new season comes new faces and new drivers in new places. These drivers are unfamiliar with each other tonight, so they're going to get more and more comfortable with each other as the night goes on. We have a little bit of a strange fuel situation right here. 90 laps around the high banks of Daytona with 50% of the fuel cell available, meaning we're going to see lots of pit stops tonight. Stage break at lap 25 and at lap 50 tonight should make for a very interesting night of racing here at Daytona, Ellis.
It's going to be an interesting night indeed, and we're going to cover a lot of those stories. But before we get there, it's time for everyone's favorite pre-race tradition here at Slingshot TV. Folks, rise and remove those caps, if able, for the playing of the national anthem. We'll be right back. Back here live from Daytona International Speedway, getting ready for 90 laps to open up the NSRLA Xfinity season here at Daytona, folks. It is going to be a wild ride. We're looking forward to joining you for the entire season. To get things kicked off, let's talk about some stories to follow going into Daytona. It's certain to deliver action no matter what time of the year or what car we have in Daytona. But Chris, It's stiff competition. You already mentioned it. A lot of these drivers we've seen before in some Mystic Racing League races. Tonight, we're going to see some old faces and some new faces. How tough is it at Daytona to compete with pretty much everyone who's been equalized in the draft?
Yeah, the draft is the great equalizer. So when you think about opportunity races, some drivers look at Daytona, Ellis, as their best shot to pick up a win this season. And so a lot of drivers have a lot of anticipation coming in tonight. There's a lot of nervous energy anyway at Daytona, just because anything can happen here, which we'll get to in some of our later stories. So a lot of great competition here on the track. A lot of drivers who are familiar with each other and a lot of drivers who are not familiar with each other. So you're going to have to get familiar with each other in the confines of the draft tonight.
Lots to watch out for. Risk versus reward comes right along with that draft. Do you try to go early tonight? Do you try to move towards the front? Or are you just happy to stick around kind of in the back and maybe look to avoid the big one and move late?
Yeah, I think everybody's situation is different, Ellis. I think that I've always been the type where I like to run up front if I can and try to stay up front if I am a driver. And that's easier said than done because you can easily find yourself falling to the back, very quickly. Things happen very fast here at Daytona. So I think if you can keep yourself in the first maybe row or two, that's probably the best place to be, maintain control of this race. But if you do happen to fall back, start slipping back, it's totally fine to go back to the back and just kind of ride around until the end of this race. There's going to be a myriad of strategies that these drivers partake in tonight.
And something to take into account that drivers are going to have to consider is teamwork. You've got to have a dance partner, at least one or more at Daytona, to really move towards the front. How important is that going to be to link up with someone early tonight, whether you got a teammate or maybe you find a new friend tonight?
Yeah, I've been looking through the Discord here at NSRLA, and I've been trying to keep tabs on some of the teams that we're going to see. If you're Brandon Waldrop, maybe working with Jordan Ives. If you're Evan Janik working with Alex Pollock, Gino Volante working with Tyler Nelson. These drivers are, some of them are used to working with each other, and so those might be some potent combinations that we see. And yes, you do need a dance partner. You need somebody to pit with you to be able to draft coming off pit road, and you also need somebody that you can work the draft with on the track to try to, take those pushes from somebody that you trust. It is talk about risk reward. Risk reward comes with your teammates as well, because you're also in it for yourself. So I think we'll see teamwork for about 90% of the race before it's every man for himself at the end.
And you mentioned the big one. You mentioned teamwork. Drafting is going to be part of that. Driver's going to have to be careful. You can't take every run you get. You're going to have to make sure you're clear, but you also got to be careful not to hit that driver in front of you in just the wrong way that could upset that car and send them around, setting off a chain reaction, the big one. Chris, how difficult is it to bump in these cars and push a car forward?
It's very difficult. These are, a little bit more difficult than some of the other cars like in the past that these drivers have run, just because there's so much, there's a lot less downforce on these Xfinity cars, maybe compared to a truck or even the Gen 6 cars that have the giant spoilers. So yeah, these cars, they're not the, the most difficult to handle a bump with, but they're also not the easiest. So definitely a story to keep our eye on tonight.
Yeah, we're going to be keeping our eye on those stories, but maybe the biggest story is where these drivers are going to start, at least for the beginning portion of this race. Track position is important early on. Let's take a look at the starting grid. Qualifying has completed. Let's see where these drivers are going to be lining up tonight for the first race of this Downtown Auto Series. Bryce Hinson is going to be your pole sitter in that number 28 machine. He's going to have Dan Berg in the 48 right next to him. A good row for the 8s if you had an 8 in your number. Good qualifying luck tonight. Vincent Short in that number 15 track bar media car going to be starting in the third position on the inside of row number 2, with Donnie Honeycutt in that number 22 machine coming from 4th tonight. Bill Hull in the number 51 going to be starting 5th, with Dustin Lewis in the number 33 right to his outside. He's got to come from 6th tonight. Gavin Hinson, Chris, this is a driver I am watching with a keen eye. We've seen him show speed in the races we've called. Tonight could be his night. He has got to come from 7th. Tyler Honeycutt is going to be starting 8th in that number 54 machine, with Ryan Bittler starting 9th in the number 9. Bradley Minor going to have to climb from 10th tonight. He'll be starting on the outside of row 5.
Yeah, and as we look at the rest of the field, we got Tyler Hensley lining up on the inside of row 6 of that number 53 machine, and Tyler Merkel in the number 6 on the outside. Brandon Waldrop, a driver that you and I, Ellis, have seen race many times, starting in the 13th spot. And on his outside, you got Zach White, another driver we are familiar with. He's going to be rolling off from the 14th position. MJ Palmer is going to be rolling off from the 15th position. On his outside, Michael Cole in the 16th spot. Evan Janik is going to roll off 17th in that number 60 machine. And Jacob Shoemaker in the 01 rolling off 18th. Chris Paulsen is going to roll off 19th in the number 26. And Enoch Hancock is going to round out the top 20.
21st is going to be Alex Pollock in that bright yellow number 92. Casey Bristow has shown speed in some of our recent broadcasts. He's going to be starting 22nd of that number 11. David Moyer, another driver looking to capture his first win of the year, starting from the 23rd position tonight. He'll be joined on the outside by Mark Coldfield in that number 97. To the inside of row number 13, it's going to be Stephen Gill in the number 5. Andy Berry going to be starting 26th in that number 21 car tonight. Coach Brad T. Nelson in the 37. He's going to have to come from the back of the field, 27th, but if anyone can get the job done, Nelson is the man for it. Number 28, 28th on the grid, going to be Trevor McCoy in that 00, starting 28th, tail end of the field. Now tonight, there were several drivers who did not qualify for the race. That includes Gino Volante, Jacob Cochran, Morgan Cook, John Worob, and Jordan Ives. I'm not sure, some of them might have taken a qualifying effort, but the field was limited to 28 cars tonight. So it's a good number, Chris. I think I feel good. If I'm a driver in this field, 28 cars, you're kind of limiting the potential for damage, but that threat is still there.
Yeah, it absolutely is, as the field is going to work its way off of turn number 4, Ellis. We're set to get the green flag for this 28-car field tonight.
It's going to be Bryce Hinton and Dan Berg on your front row as we get this season underway. Green flag waves for the first time of the Downtown Auto Sales Series. Hinton and Lewis lead the way. Honeycutt on the outside there in that number 22. Field heads down into turn 1. One car coming off pit road started from the pits. The orange car of Hinton is on the inside. That 48 of Dan Berg to the outside. The 22 a little bit loose, but they've sorted it out. Looks like Hinton's going to get the lead coming off of turn 2.
Yeah, good launch from that number 28 machine on the inside, but the outside has a little bit more organization. Look at that line on the outside, led by that number 48 of Dan Berg. He's got a good push from behind from Dustin Lewis in the 33. They're going to grab control and go right to the bottom of the racetrack.
Those front 2 cars move to the bottom. That's Berg and Lewis. Coming to the back end of that Lewis machine is the number 28 of Hinton, the pole sitter, back to 5th position right now, but it's early on. Tyler Honeycutt in that 54. He's the lead car on the outside with the 46 of Bradley Minor. Looking like their team cars, Chris, working together early here is the strategy for that 46 and 54.
Yeah, they're definitely working together, it seems, right there. And yeah, right now you're just trying to get, in line right here. Looks like we got 2 solid lines working right here, top lane and bottom lane. This track is wide enough for 3-wide racing here, Ellis, but I don't think we'll see it at this stage of the race. I think that we're going to see everybody nice and orderly, 2-wide right here. 2-wide's pretty comfortable at Daytona. When we get 3-wide, it gets pretty tight. It gets pretty close here.
Can get a little dicey. And just to remind fans, the first stage of this race, 25 laps, and stage points are awarded with the top 5 drivers getting stage points at the end of the stage. One car a little upset at the top of the track, but it settles down. First 2 single file. Really, the first battle is on the 3rd row. That looks like it's Hinton in that number 28, and the top line is slow just a little bit. Chris, I'm looking right behind those first 2 lead cars. The number 6 of Tyler Merkel. If you're the 46 and the 54, you want that 6 car tucked up right to the back. That looks like it might be slowing down the momentum of that outside line.
Yeah, you definitely want all the help that you can get. You want that lane, and you want all that energy to be compacted. You want it to be as close as you possibly can right there. That number 46 machine of Bradley Minor doing a nice job of trying to stay really close. Oh, we got trouble in turns 3 and 4. Several cars around.
The 26, the 43, the 92, the 01, the 7. This is at least an 8-car pileup on the backstretch right now. We're going to see exactly what happened here in just a moment, but massive trouble for the back half of the field. We're going to see if we can't find the replay here of what actually happened, but that had at least 8 cars potentially involved in that collision. Let's see what happened.
Yeah, and got it right here. And I think that the contact is going to be around where the number 9 machine is. The 9 and the 43 are the 2 cars. Michael Cole in the 43 is the first one that I saw run into some trouble right there. I think that he had the number 9 of Ryan Bittler underneath him. And it might have been a hit from behind from the 53 into the number 9 that knocks the 9 into the 43. And it is absolute chaos behind them. Several cars involved. I can see Alex Pollock down there in the 92. I can see the number 7 down there as well. Several cars involved right there in turns 3 and 4, Ellis.
Several cars involved. The good news is we believe they do have one fast repair tonight, and they're going to get that caution to be able to catch back up with the field. So the damage might be limited. If your driver was one of the cars involved in that, don't fret. They're not out of this thing yet. Still a 90-lap race. We've got 85 laps left in the book here, and right now, it's going to be a good opportunity, folks, to welcome our fans tuning in live on YouTube. We are ecstatic that you could join us. We're playing some games and chatting tonight with one lucky fan taking home a Dale Earnhardt Jr. diecast, but several cars going to peel off pit road. I'm curious here if, Chris, this might be the point where they can make the stage. We talked about a fuel mileage being around 22 laps. We'll get back to that Dale Jr. diecast in just a minute, but this might be a strategy call by some drivers to be able to make it to the end of the stage without coming down pit road.
Yeah, a lot of drivers making their way down pit road. I see the number 51 down pit road, the 97 receiving service on pit road. A lot of these cars, the 21 machine as well, that's Andy Berry. A lot of cars getting some, damage fixed. I see Zach White making his way off pit road in that number 80 machine. Folks, we're going to be trying to figure out these numbers as the night goes on right here. Our first race with them, but I promise you that we're going to get it figured out. Yeah, a lot of drivers, Ellis, deciding to, number 1, get some damage fixed, and number 2, try to set themselves up to get to the end of this stage.
I think that's an interesting call. I definitely like that call, Chris. You mentioned it. We're going to be learning numbers. This reminds me we're both teachers. This reminds me of the first day of school. We're just looking at some faces we don't recognize. Some we do, but we're trying to remember these names. Give us a couple of races. We'll remember these names. We'll remember these drivers. We'll remember these paint schemes. Right now, we were talking about winning that Dale Earnhardt Jr. Bass Pro Shops diecast. Folks, all you have to do is say hi in the chat. Let's keep the conversation going. Half the fun is watching the race. The other half is talking with the rest of the fans and talking with the broadcast crew calling the race. We love to hear your thoughts. We love to hear who you're rooting for. We love just to hear how your day's going. Shout out in the chat, comment, leave a comment, and we're going to choose one lucky fan at the end of the night to take home that Dale Earnhardt Jr. Bass Pro Shops diecast. We'll send it to you absolutely free of charge. Chris, I think we've sent out over 100 diecasts over the course of our 2.5 years of broadcasting. We're going to continue to do that this season. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, folks, please, please, please. People ask all the time, how can we support the channel? Hitting that subscribe button is the absolute best way you can support the channel. And Chris, the best part is, does it cost you anything?
Doesn't cost you a thing, and all it does is help our channel grow and help your driver that you want to see put in front of more eyeballs. So we would greatly appreciate any support that you can give the channel and for your fellow drivers out here, or for your driver that you're cheering on here on the track.
Absolutely. And looks like right now we're going to have at least one more lap. One interesting thing that we're going to have to get used to is typically in NASCAR, there's a choose rule. But I think in this series, we have a choose beetle. Did we miss the choose beetle the first time, Chris? Did they pass it, or is it coming up here maybe on the backstretch?
I think that we missed it, unfortunately. But hey, yeah, we're gonna get better at that. We're gonna keep our eyes on that.
We're gonna have to adjust to the choose beetle.
Yeah, we're gonna have to adjust to it. Yeah, we'll keep our eyes out there for the beetle the next time.
I think we'll have plenty of more opportunities before this thing is over and done with, folks. We are so happy you could join us tonight. They're not going green. I think they're maybe waiting to do a little bit more reorganization. I think this could be a good opportunity to see if we can't pull in a driver and see what they're kind of observing and what they're feeling in that race car. Let's see who we might be able to peel in to this interview room right now. I'd like Alex Pollock. We would go with Alex Pollock.
Let's go with him.
All right, we're going to move him into the broadcast.
And while you're doing that, Ellis,
yeah.
I just want to let our producer, Cam Gillens, know we're very appreciative of Cam's service tonight. He's doing an awesome job working the cameras. Yeah. He's doing an awesome job right here.
Shout him out. Give him a kudos in the chat.
Yeah.
Alex Pollock in that number 92 machine. It's Ellis, Chris, and Cam in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How you guys doing?
Oh, man, we are good. We're excited to be back in the thick of things. We wanted to take this opportunity. I know they extended the caution by 1 lap. It gives us the opportunity to hear from you drivers. Are we getting ready for the Choose Beetle here?
Yep, Choose Beetles this time.
Right.
They missed it. It's their first time in the Choose Beetle, so they're learning a little bit.
All right, so we're excited to see the Choose Beetle here. It's on the front straightaway, it looks like. So we're going to get a good shot of the Choose Beetle parked right in the middle of the front straightaway. Driver's going to have to go left or right depending on where they want to restart. There, it's right in the middle there, the Choose Beetle. Gotta love it. That is an interesting little. A gimmick sounds bad, but it's a cool idea to do it. It definitely makes it easy to discern where you're gonna start from. Alex, talk to us about what it's gonna take to get this win tonight in the opener of the season.
Well, usually I like to hang out back and avoid the wrecks, but I've already been in one doing that, so I'm going to try to get up front and then control the race up there. So we'll see how it is. A lot of new drivers in here that I'm not familiar with, so be a little cautious. But I think we can put on a good race.
I think so too. We are looking forward to it. What's the strategy? Go hard early, or are you going to try to lag back in the back?
Well, I was going to lag in the back, like I said, but I've already been involved in a wreck, so I'm
you got to go now.
Go up front. Yep. So
awesome. Do you have any
20
teammates?
seconds of damage, so it wasn't horrible. Yeah, so I'm racing with Evan Janik tonight. So great teammate there, and then we're also teaming up with Jacob Cochran, who missed the race, but Andy Berry and Michael Cole as well. So that's going to be us 4.
Awesome. We'll be looking forward to watching y'all out there. Good luck, and say hi to the rest of the team for us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Sir. All right, so you heard from Alex Pollock in that number 92. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, we're going to have our eyes on Alex Pollock tonight and seeing how he's able to progress up through the field. I am going to let our producer, Cam Gillens, know that the background music, we got word that it is still playing in the background right there. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and mute that. And so you can hear
ambience.
Just so you can hear all 700 of these odd horsepower right here, 700 odd horsepower out of these Xfinity machines right here.
700 odd horsepower about to get cranked up once more. Lap number 7 of 90 coming to lap number 8. Plenty of action left ahead. That inside purple machine, the 48, driven by Dan Berg. Tyler Honeycutt in that number 54 to his outside. Berg's going to be the restart leader. He gets to choose when we go. He mashes that throttle right at the end of the restart zone, gets us back underway. Drivers get away from the start-finish line cleanly that time, and it's going to be a 2-car tandem up top with a 2-car tandem on the inside. Right now, it's a 4-car breakaway as they head down into turn 1.
Yeah, both these drivers up here at the front have got some pretty good help from behind from their drafting partners. The 48 machine has that 33 of Lewis right behind him. That's Dustin Lewis. And the 54 has the 46 of Bradley Minor right behind him. Tyler Honeycutt getting a good push from his teammate down the backstretch here.
Big push from Tyler Honeycutt to the back of that number 48 of Dan Berg, and lovely silver and purple paint scheme. I like that. But yeah, number 33, Dustin Lewis. Look at through Dustin Lewis's stats for another season he's run here with NSRLA. 3rd and 5th at the restrictor plate tracks of Daytona and Talladega, Chris. I think we're going to have to keep an eye on Dustin Lewis and that number 33. Really the model of consistency as we ride on board here, given the push to his teammate, or that number 48 of Dan Berg in front of him. And boy, you talk about a driver punching above their weight. D-class license, but it doesn't show here. Indeed, Dustin Lewis making it look easy out there in front right now.
Yeah, he's making it look really easy right here. Nice and smooth. That's exactly what you want if you're Dan Berg. You want that push from behind, but you don't want that car moving around from the left side to the right side. You want that driver tucked up behind you, but you want to make sure that he's nice and square when he delivers those pushes to your back bumper. As we've got a little bit of movement up there on that top lane, but they get it all sorted out right here, and we're working lap 10 here at Daytona.
Yeah, Chris, if you're up top, have you learned any lessons? We watched that number 33 of Dustin Lewis dive to the outside. He opens up the door. I'm wondering if he's going to work with the 33 or the 54 and the 46. I was going to say, like, have drivers begun to see that the outside isn't really making hay? Do they try something else? Could a new lead car potentially propel that outside line towards the front?
It definitely can, especially, you know, if maybe the 46 machine, Bradley Minor, is getting a little bit hot. You know, he's been tucked up behind the 54 for a couple laps right here since the restart. You know, and that water temperature, that oil temperature might be going up in that number 46 machine. So, yeah, that enables the 54 of Tyler Honeycutt to maybe take a little bit of pressure off the 46 and, you know, and allow him to push maybe for a lap or two right here to the back bumper of that number 33 machine right in front of him of Dustin Lewis.
Yeah, I think we saw that just happen right there. That outside line maybe making up a little bit more time than it has all night right now. All cars pretty much within a second of each other, but we're going to run through the top five. It's Dan Berg on the inside, Dustin Lewis now on the outside. He's got Tyler Honeycutt, and then Tyler Merkla in that number 6, that Hot Wheels number 6 blue machine down the inside. And Chris, suddenly the momentum has shifted towards the outside, led by Dustin Lewis in that number 33. Draft Track Pro Dustin Lewis.
Yeah, and it just seems like that 33 and 54, Lewis and Honeycutt, that is a potent combination up there on the outside. But he grabs the lead, and he's going to go right to the bottom, and that's going to enable Honeycutt to now have some clean air on the nose of that 54. And Bradley Minor should be nice and cooled off and ready to deliver some pushes to his teammate.
Bradley Minor definitely happy to see that, and that number 46 can now push the 54. That motor is cooled down a little bit. They've got the 39 of Gavin Hinson right behind them, and look at that breakaway up front. Hinson's going to have to close in on the back. He's going to have a big run up top in that white and purple number 39. Will the lead tandem drop to the bottom? The 54 and the 46, at least for the moment, have separated. Now the 33 is going to pull up to the back of Tyler Honeycutt. That's Dustin Lewis in that 33. And there's the outside, Chris, making hay once again. Teammates side by side as they cross the line to come to lap number 13. Oh, big moment for the 54. He saves it, though.
Yeah, he does save it, and I think that maybe the mentality for these drivers is the 54 and the 46 right here, these two teammates controlling the race, is that maybe they can control the race like by just controlling each lane. They're going to do what they can to clog up the racetrack and make sure that they are the leaders of both lanes, the inside lane and the outside lane. It's definitely a good strategy.
That's an interesting strategy. I think we need to try that next week in our ARCA race in Talladega. Oh, too wide, a little bit further behind them. That's Tyler Merkle on the inside. David Moyer up the middle, and that David Moyer machine, the number 47, is getting dicey and frisky early on, Chris. What do you make of that decision to go 3 wide? He doesn't want to wait.
Well, I said that we probably wouldn't see much 3 wide, and David Moyer has proven me wrong. He saw his opportunity. There was a little hole up the middle, and he went for it. He's to the inside right here of Donnie Honeycutt. He's going to get to the inside of him or up the middle on him. And I think that he's going to clear Honeycutt in the 22. And I know Gavin Hinson in that white and purple and bluish machine up in front of David Moyer. I know he saw that run coming, and that's why you saw him go down towards the middle and get a little closer to those cars on the inside. He's going to try to block that run that Moyer has coming up the middle.
Yeah, and absolutely right. Moyer's going to be stifled back there in that black and green machine. Riding on board, second place, now fifth place, I should say, Gavin Hinson in that number 39. You can see just how close these cars are here at Daytona International Speedway here. Coming to lap number 15, that inside line looks like they've gained the advantage. Gavin Hinson, as we ride on board, trying to get to the back bumper of that number 46. That is the number 46 of Bradley Minor we've been talking about, getting separated from his teammate just a little bit. And Chris, to talk about that, you know, I was listening as we watching pass for the lead. That's the 33 of Dustin Lewis. And as soon as I say that, look at the big push that Minor gives to Dustin Lewis to push him out clear to the lead.
Yeah, I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of Dustin Lewis right here so far in the early stages. You know, if you are a regular here in NSRLA, you're probably not surprised at all to see it. But, you know, if you're tuning in for the first time, Dustin Lewis right here is very, very confident in switching lanes. He wants to take the runs, take the momentum, and every single opportunity that he has to grab position, he goes for it.
Moment, Alex Alex Pollock, the 80 in trouble. That's happening in the midfield, down the front straightaway. Big crash as we ride through the turn number 1. Wow, Chris, big moment back there for 10th, 11th, and 12th, and 13th. That's going to bring out the caution here on lap 16. We're going to have to return to the scene of the crime to see if we can't figure out what exactly happened, but I believe that very well might have started with the number 5 of Stephen Gill. Here's what happened.
Yeah, we're going to go back right here. Yeah, and I think that the trouble does start around that number 5 machine of Stephen Gill. He is going to be the one that is going to be in front of, I think that maybe we're a lap maybe too soon right here. Yeah, we're going to go back and, yeah, yeah, this is where it is already started right here. So, yeah, we'll find out what happened right here with Stephen Gill. There he is in that number 5, right in front of the yellow and red number 92 of Alex Pollock. It looks like there was a checkup. It's a big checkup out of the 5. Like he had some type of issue or had trouble or something like that. But big hits into the inside wall for both Alex Pollock and for Stephen Gill. I believe that was the 07 car, 01 car maybe, a Jacob Shoemaker down there into the inside wall as well. I think I see the 37 car that was also involved. So many cars involved. That's Brad T. Nelson in the 37 going there also towards the infield area. He goes for a wild ride, but I think he keeps most of the damage off that machine. Casey Bristow also down there towards the infield area as well.
Big crashes here in the first 16 laps of the Downtown Auto Sales Series opener for the NSRLA. We're under caution for the second time, folks. If you're tuning in on YouTube right now, you have chosen the perfect time to get on in here for this season kickoff. We're giving away that Dale Jr. 164th diecast. Just say hi in the chat. Let us know how your day is going. Talk with other race fans. Let us know what driver you're rooting on. React to whatever you're seeing on the racetrack, good or bad. Don't be too mean, but I'm curious if we're going to see some maybe takers on pit road this time, because I don't know, maybe they have had enough caution laps to get them to the end of stage number 1, and I take that back. We're going to see several drivers coming down pit road led by Tyler Honeycutt and Bradley Minor, those team cars there. A handful of cars stayed out, but this is going to give us the opportunity here to see how track position is going to change, and it's going to set us up for a shootout, probably 5-lap shootout to end stage number 1.
Yeah, these cars receiving service right here on pit road. You see Dan Berg with that great pit stall right there. All he's got to do is bump the clutch and go forward a little bit to get off pit road. Here comes that 33 machine off of pit road. I think he's going to grab position over everybody else. That's Dustin Lewis. And all these cars getting service right here, Ellis. It's going to set us up for a nice little shootout right here to the end of stage number 1.
A nice shootout indeed. So many people chiming in the chat right now. We got Julian here, my mother-in-law. Hi, Mookie. Chad saying the 9, rooting for the number 9. I'm trying to look for the number 9. We're still learning numbers, Chad. Bear with us. That number 9, Ryan Bittler. We got some Ryan Bittler fans in here. Drafty Beef rooting for Zach White. Familiar face here on Slingshot TV. Brandon V's. Appreciate you joining in. Brandon, hi. How are you doing? How was your day? Trevor McCoy. Come on, Trevor Parcell in here rooting for Trevor. Trevor, you got to root for a fellow Trevor, I guess. And then look, Chris, Connor Lyons. What the heck is happening, Connor Lyons? We are glad you are here. We're so happy to hear from you again. Travis Parcell rooting for that 00 right now. And up front in that number 15, it's Vincent Short in that Track Bar Media machine. Chris, where you want to be on this final 5-lap dash? If you're on top of the pit box playing that crew chief role, you want your driver to be up front 7th, 8th, or you just telling them, hey, let's make it to the end of the day here. Stage points are great, but 100% intact race car is even better.
Yeah, I think that I'm going to tell my driver, Ellis, to just be aware of what's going on around you. Don't, try to put it in the driver's hands of, like, hey, if things are getting kind of crazy, be aware of this as these drivers work their way and are going to go around the Choose Beetle here. I don't think that we're going. Are we making the choose right here? Yeah, we are. Look at Evan Janik. He's the first one to elect to take the top lane. I'm going to tell my driver to try to be aware of what's going on. If stage points are on the line, and here in NSRLA it is 10, the top 10 receiving stage points from 1 point increments from 10 points for the winner all the way to 10th receiving 1 point. So if I'm around that 10th spot and maybe if I slip back a little bit, if it looks like I can't get stage points, man, I'm going to fall way off the pack, Ellis. I'm going to fall way back, and I'm going to make sure I keep that car in one piece.
I think that's probably a good strategy. Brandon V is going to be racing with us in this series, by the way. Had to miss tonight, but he's going to be back next week in that number 65. We'll look forward to seeing you there. Brandon, folks, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, it's the best way you can support this channel. We do at least 2 to 3 races live a week for different series, and we do got diecast giveaways on a weekly basis. So if you don't win it tonight, there's plenty more chances. Do not worry. Right now, the field is working their way down the backstretch, led by the pace car. That inside machine is Vincent Short, the track bar, number 55 with the outside. Evan Janik in that 60. Chris come up short in the championship race at Miami for Mystic Racing League, but taking a gamble here to start on the outside. Right behind him, he's going to have that 43 of Michael Cole. These two guys have raced together. They know each other on the track. I think this could be a good call to pick up some track position. We're going to see if it renders any success here as we round our way through turns 3 and 4. Pace car going to be making that hard left turn. It's going to be a 6-lap shootout to get to lap number 25 here. Drivers competing, as Chris mentioned earlier, for stage points. Alex Pollock in the chat says, strategy did not work tonight. We agree. Unfortunately, man, we hate to see you out of the race, but hey, at least you can join us in the chat. Pace car takes a hard left turn down pit road, and the rest of the field is going to be seeing the green flag once Vincent Short decides to hit that throttle, and there it is. A little bit of a stack up. I think we're going to get away cleanly.
Oh, we got trouble.
Contact. Michael Cole, and it looks like David Moyer in trouble there on the front straightaway. Big crash here on lap number 20. It's going to put us under caution for the 3rd time tonight. And Chris, the log jam happened from the get-go. That leader might have stumbled just a little bit, but it was enough to catch drivers off guard. And it's going to put us under caution for the 3rd time tonight. Let's see if we can't return to the scene of the crime and see what exactly happened here just a moment ago.
Yeah, I was watching the speed of our race leader, the number 55 of Vincent Short, and yeah, he did not accelerate until after the restart zone, and I think that was just that caused a bit of a log jam. Drivers anticipating this thing going green, and the contact that I saw was on the outside, the number 43 machine of Michael Cole. Evan Janik right there in front of him. They were all these guys trying to anticipate the start. See if we can roll it right here. Yeah, Vincent Short, they're way, you see the United Rentals logos back there. They're way past it before they actually do decide to start going green. And yeah, it's just a big stack up right there. And unfortunately, several cars caught up in that deal. The 43 of Michael Cole being one of those. A couple other cars also involved. You can see right there in the jam up. I see the number 54 machine of Tyler Honeycutt received a lot of damage. So unfortunate considering the speed that he had earlier in that car. 47 of David Moyer is the car that made the contact from behind into the 43 of Michael Cole. Other cars involved include Tyler Honeycutt's teammate, the 46 of Bradley Minor.
Yeah, several cars that we've seen running up front, sustaining damage there right now. The rest of the field looks like they're just trying to figure out where things are going to line up. I think they're waiting for the pace car to collect them. Pace car was a little bit behind there, but now we'll get going again. And this is going to make this probably a 2-lap shootout, if not a 1-lap shootout to bring us to the end of stage number 1. They'll probably try to work this caution fairly quickly. Folks, we appreciate you tuning in the chat. Let us know who you're rooting for. Hopefully you're enjoying the call and the action here at Daytona. We're going to give our producer and ourselves just a moment to catch our breaths. Every angle you've seen on camera tonight is brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. You've seen their logo down the bottom right hand of the corner a few times tonight. They produce camera packs, whether you're broadcasting a race, maybe you're just trying to grab cool video or cool screenshots if you're on iRacing. They have great cameras. Their link is in our YouTube video description. But right now, we're going to take a second to hear from our partners at Whiplash SimCams. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere. See you in 30 seconds, folks. Back here live in Daytona, folks. You haven't missed a thing. We're working the third caution of tonight. It is going to be a likely 2-lap shootout here to end stage number 1. Christian mentioned stage points awarded to the top 10 finishers. If you're kind of outside that top 10 bubble, maybe you think about lagging back and just kind of waiting for the chaos to ensue, not risking your car. We did want to make one correction. Drivers do not get any quick repairs tonight. So you run what you brung, and if what you brung ends up getting damaged, that's it. You got to make sure to get it repaired over the course of the night. It's going to be 2 to go here at this at the line. Next time by, we're going to get the Choose Beetle, and if you haven't seen the Choose Beetle, they just passed it a minute ago down there on the apron of the Trioval. Cool little thing that NSRLA does with that Black Diamond Designs Choose Beetle. Instead of a Choose cone, it's a bright orange beetle. Fun stuff going on. Chris, I'm just curious. We gotta do a little paint scheme practice here. I'm curious to go through some of these paint schemes. If our producer Cam maybe there's a close-up shot, we can look at some of these paint schemes potentially. You know the camera's better than I do, but Vincent Short here in a Track Bar Media paint scheme. I kind of like that. I like those silverish gray kind of paint schemes. Not a bad looking car at all. Behind him, Evan Janik in that number 60 machine. Is that a red and blue? What's on the hood of that thing, Chris?
Yeah, that's a red and blue, and it looks like it says runs on freedom, Amsoil. Yes, and yeah, we've seen Evan Janik in those Amsoil colors very often. Used to seeing it on a Chevrolet, but now he's in a Ford here in NSRLA, and that's a good looking ride, Ellis. That's personally probably my favorite one on the track.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a little red, white, and blue behind him. Looks like we got Chris Polson in that number. Is that a Taco Bell paint scheme? Are they trying to troll us here? I feel like we talk about Taco Bell at least every other week here up in the Slingshot TV booth. Chris Polson running that bright number 26, that purple Taco Bell machine. Chris, what's your favorite Taco Bell item?
I'm pretty simple. I just normally get me a few just regular beef crunchy tacos, and I just set sail on that with some fire sauce, of course.
I didn't even know what fire sauce is.
It's the hottest sauce that you can get.
All right, drivers coming to the Choose Beetle here. There it is, parks right in the middle of the track. Drivers going to the inside. Oh, one driver. That's the Taco Bell machine going to the outside of that bright orange Black Diamond Designs Choose Beetle. I'm never not going to chuckle a little bit whenever that happens. But, that's awesome. We love to see creativity, and that is one of the more creative things I've seen a league do. Right now, lining up for the 1 to go. That's going to put us coming with 2 to go at the line. It's going to be a 2-lap shootout. Drivers competing for stage points. We got Connor Lyon saying he's hungry for burritos. You're not the only one, Connor. Brandon V saying they're rooting for Casey Bristow. We've seen Casey have some speed over the course of some races we've called up here. Top 2, Vincent Short and Chris Poles. And Chris, we're going to have to watch the restart on this one. Last time, a little bit of a stack up. Not sure if there's a miscommunication or what, but hopefully we get a cleaner restart this time. Evan Janik looked at like he elected to go to the inside. Maybe a bit of a different strategy than he had the first time. Curious to see if that works out for him a little bit better this time. And do you have a preferred line, Chris, with 2 to go? Is there a place you would rather be, top or bottom?
I think it just depends on the pusher behind you, the driver that maybe, you're comfortable with, the driver that you've worked with. I'm not sure, with this being a league that we're new to, I'm not sure what the, driver relationships are between some of these, but I always like to have just a driver that I feel really comfortable getting the push from. It seems like the bottom is a little bit better through 1 and 2 on the initial lap. So we'll have our eyes on that. And I'll be honest with you, Ellis, I'm not sure if they have restart zone here in NSRLA. So, that's something maybe that, leaving it up to the driver to decide when they want to go green. And that could be what we saw right there on that previous caution flag.
Definitely going to be keeping an eye on that. We'll have to do a little bit of checking of the rule book, but pace car is going to peel off, and we're going to try to get this thing underway for a 2-lap shootout. Vincent Short on the inside. That's Chris Polson on the outside, and that Taco Bell machine. We get it going. Green flag is out. Vincent Short gets away cleanly this time. Outside line stacks up a little bit. That's Polson, and then Hinton in that number 78 or that 28 machine on the outside. They get a big run headed up into turn number 1, side by side, once again up front.
Yeah, we are side by side right here in the bottom lane. I thought that it might have the advantage, but the top lane with that push from the number 28 of Bryce Hinton, is going to give Chris Polson a nice shot right down the backstretch right here. They've got a slight advantage, and Polson's going to turn down right in front of that number 55 of Vincent Short, and he's going to take the lead.
I think Polson wanted to be on that inside, maybe a little bit more comfortable working with Short, but it's going to throw Hinton up to the outside. He's got Dustin Lewis in that number 33 back up front after falling back just a couple of laps ago. It's 2 by 2 by 2, about 8-9 rows deep right now. Coming to the white flag for stage number 1, 1 to go down the front straightaway.
Yeah, we got 1 lap to go right here, and drivers at the back of this field, they've got their eyes peeled, ready for anything to happen right here. Stage points on the line for the top 10. I know it's race 1 right here, Ellis, but every point counts this season.
Every point. Drivers want to get off on the right foot here. Outside line regains their footing. Dustin Lewis pushing Bryce Hinton to the front. Can the energy remain in that outside line? Right now, the inside line seems to have the advantage. 3 cars versus 2. Chris Polson in that number 26 is getting a big old helping hand for the number 55 of Vincent Short with Evan Janik right behind him. But look out. There's the 28 of the 33 making one last push at the line to end stage 1. It's going to be the 26 of Polson, followed by Bryce Hinton, who's going to finish second. Vincent Short is going to be third. I believe Vincent Short's actually going to be scored in second place. I'm looking here at my scoring tower. We'll give it a second to sort out, I should say. Do you see what I did there, Chris? That wasn't even on purpose. Before we let you know who got those stage points, but that's going to bring an end to stage number 1, which was quite an exciting stage, and I think the finish maybe has made me even more excited to see what that lap number 90 finish looks like. Just 65 laps from now. The night is young, but these laps are clicking away quickly. Chris, driver's going to come down pit road and get some Goodyear tires and a fresh set of a fresh tank of fuel.
Yeah, they definitely will, and that will set them up for the next stage right here. We've got 90 laps here at Daytona tonight. Stage breaks right here at lap 25 and at lap 50. With being able to go about, the number that we heard, Ellis, was 20 to 22 laps, I believe, in the pre-race. They're working lap 27 right here. So this is going to put them really close to their number. This yellow flag stage break right here. They're going to be able to save some fuel here under yellow. This puts them really close to being able to make it to the end of stage 2 if we do go green to the end of the stage. So we'll definitely see all drivers coming to pit road this time. I'm willing to bet that they'll probably get their tires here and maybe save those green flag pit stops for some fuel-only exchanges. But from that point forth right there, I think that we'll probably see some drivers top off maybe on the 1 to go, and try to do everything they can to, maximize that fuel cell to make it to the end of stage 2.
Yeah, that was my big question for you, is if you thought we would see drivers top off maybe as things went along towards the end of this caution flag. And I think that very well could be the case. Let's go through the top 10. I think things have sorted out enough where we can call it. Chris Polson's going to win those points for stage number 1. Bryce Hinton's going to finish second. He'll receive 9 points. Vincent Short going to finish third. He'll get 8 points. Dustin Lewis is going to finish 4th. You kind of get the pattern here. Evan Janik is going to be credited with a 5th position finish. Dan Berg in that number 48 brings it home in 6th. Brad Nelson recovers to come up to 7th at the end of stage number 1, with Tyler Merkel on that Hot Wheels machine going to finish 8th. Ryan Bittler finishes 9th in the 9 machine, and then David Moyer going to bring it home 10th in that number 47. Let's watch live pit stops setting up the second stage here. See if drivers try to come down and get some fuel, and who's going to get out first on pit road. They got to be careful not to fly their tires to get as quick a pit stop as possible.
Yeah, and that 26 machine of Polson was a little bit tentative getting down pit road, Ellis. The 28 of Bryce Hinton, you saw him drive around him. He was going to the limit of the speed limit, whereas Polson was a little bit more tentative getting into his pit stall. So maybe a little bit of time lost right there. But I think that the driver who is going to win the race off of pit road is going to be Dan Berg in the 48. Great pit stop for that 48 team right here. A couple drivers elected to stay out. One of those is Dustin Lewis. Another one is Alex Pollock. So yeah, a little bit of an alternative strategy from those guys. I wonder if we'll see Lewis. I wonder if he's trying to get one more lap here maybe before electing to come to pit road maybe and set himself up for being in a little bit better position fuel-wise for stage 2.
Yeah, I'm wondering the same exact thing if those front 2 cars who did not make their pit stop that time might just be waiting for another lap to try to get, as you mentioned, at end of stage number 2. Folks, we're working the 4th caution this time for the end of stage number 1. Coming up to stage number 2 in just a moment. We're going to take a quick moment to take a break, give our producer and ourselves a quick break. We're going to hear from our partners at Whiplash SimCams once more. We'll be back in 30 seconds or less. You're not going to miss a single thing. Don't worry. You take a break too. Get a drink of water. We're going to be back in a second. Back here at Daytona, they've taken the Choose Beetle, getting ready to start stage number 2 here. On the inside, it's going to be Dustin Lewis in that number 33. We've seen him as a front runner. He's a restrictor plate. Superspeedway, what do they call him now, Chris? Drafting tracks? Is that what we're calling him now? Dustin Lewis, either way, has a great track record and looking to extend that a little bit tonight to his outside. He's got Brad T. Nelson up in the top 5 for the first time tonight. Chris, who you got your eye on after stage number 1, giving us a little bit of chance to see what folks are cooking with tonight?
Well, let's start right there with Brad T. Nelson right there and that 37 on the outside. You know, we saw that crash just coming out of the tri-oval earlier. He was one of those cars that we saw down there, in the infield area down there towards the inside retaining wall. And there he is, the first car on the outside lane in that 37. We'll see right here if he can get some momentum. He has got, I believe that's Donnie Honeycutt right behind him in the 22. We'll see if Donnie can get up behind that 37. Those two can work together maybe and maybe grab some control of this race right here. A lot of drivers, though, Ellis, that we're going to be keeping our eyes on here tonight. How about you?
I really am impressed with that number 48 of Dan Berg. He's been in the top 5, top 6 much of the evening. So I think I'm going to be keeping an eye on that silver and purple number 48 starting on the inside of row 2 there. I think I could probably add 10 more cars to that list, but that's the one that I kind of feel like is going to be up front at the end tonight, pending any sort of catastrophe. But we are at Daytona, so that catastrophe could be one lap away, one breath away. Right now, we don't have to wait any more breaths to go green. That pace car makes that hard left turn. It's going to be on Dustin Lewis to mash the throttle. We're back underway here. Green flag racing to start stage number 2 at Daytona. And boy, Dustin Lewis gets away in a heartbeat. But on the inside, right behind them, row number 2, Dan Berg and Brad T. Nelson do duel down into turn 1.
Yeah, and Dan Berg has that number 55 of Vincent Short. Oh, some contact. The 37's around. Big crash in front of the field.
Big crash in front of the field, middle of turn number 1, and bump drafting potentially gone wrong has put us under caution for the 5th time tonight. The carnage has come early and often here at Daytona. We're going to return to the scene of the crime and see if we can't figure out what happened there.
Yeah, I think that the contact is going to be around where Vincent Short and the 37 of... Yeah, you can see it right here. It's a little bit after it got started right there, but that's the 37 of Brad T. Nelson. Yeah, we'll see if we can go back right here. Maybe get, I don't know if we can get maybe an overhead shot, a little bit different perspective of this, possibly right here. But the 55, it's number 15 on the scoring pylon, but it's the 55 machine, that silver and blue car on the inside right there. That's Vincent Short. See, he's kind of up the track a little bit right there. The 37 of Brad T. Nelson's kind of coming down also, and the two of them kind of meet in the middle right there. Unfortunate, some contact right there. Oh, there's Zach White right there. I'm not sure if he has some contact from behind, but you saw him come in there late. Some big damage to that number 80 machine. Not sure how significant that's going to be, but Ellis, that could have been much, much worse than what it was. I said it was going to be a big crash, and it wound up not being as big as it could have been.
I was about to say, we saw several drivers kind of avert catastrophe there at the last minute. Heads up driving by a handful of drivers. Of course, that started about 4th, 5th, 6th position as we rolled our way through turns 1 and 2. Now on lap 31 of 90, we've crossed the 1/3 point here of the downtown auto sales. 227, 220, is it 220? 225. Sorry about that. My eyes are not as good as they used to be, but tonight these drivers have the sharpest eyes out there. Several drivers weaving and navigating their way through traffic, avoiding that last crash here on lap number 30. Boy, I just have to say, I'm glad I'm not in the field because I would be tensed up. I'm always tensed up at Daytona, but these drivers have had to go through it just a little bit tonight. And this is kind of normal, Chris. Anytime you have a start to a season, these are 28 drivers that many of them have never raced with each other before. You're still learning the culture. You're learning how each other drives. So you watch Dustin Lewis as well as number 6 of Tyler Merkel make their way down pit road here. I think they think this will very well get them to end of stage number 2. So they're hoping maybe to not have to pit before the end of stage 2, pending they're maybe banking on no other cautions coming out, Chris.
Yeah, I think that's going to be their strategy right here, though. We have had an abundance of cautions already, though, so it's trending towards us having more of them. As more and more drivers take damage here in the field, there are less opportunities, as we see the Beetle getting in position right here for the choose, as these drivers are going to work their way back around to the front stretch right here. We are having more and more drivers take damage. I think I see 14 cars here on the track that are currently still rolling. Yeah. Some cars getting damage fixed on pit road, Ellis. Some of them trying to make their way back around. So that just goes to show you that, at any point, this thing could break off and go green until the end of this stage, and possibly even to the end of the race after the stage right here, because with less cars on track, less opportunities for big crashes.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The less cars out there, the less chance of crashes. And, less cars, still exciting, but maybe just a little bit safer out there. Drivers still learning their way around each other out here and kind of learning how these cars drive. We mentioned kind of new car jitters. This is a new vehicle for a lot of these drivers that have maybe not run a full season with this machine, this Xfinity. Now, I guess the O'Reilly cars after this NASCAR season concludes. But Dan Berg, I'm telling you, man, he's my pick, I think, to win tonight in that number 48 machine. And I'm not just saying just because I like that purple and silver paint scheme. I think that number 48 is strong. I'm curious to see a little bit more from him in stage number 2 and how well he's going to kind of work under pressure up front, not having to face much pressure. It's the mid-pack that's really had to deal with that pressure. Right now, the pressure they got to deal with is making that decision. Are they going to go left or right around that bright orange Black Diamond Designs choose Beetle? Berg chooses left, and it looks like the number 22 of Donnie Honeycutt makes that right-hand turn to the outside. And Chris, the popular line looks like it's the inside that time. What do you attribute that to?
think it's just, comfort with the drivers, and with the inside lane, Ellis, there is just some overall comfort. And I think that's something that maybe a lot of these drivers are feeling. You have the yellow line as reference. A lot of drivers on super speedways. It's hard to break these old habits.
Draft tracks. Draft tracks, Chris, what we call it now. Come on now.
Yeah, it's really hard to, sort of break the habit and break the comfort that is that yellow line. So a lot of drivers see that, and that's just their safety net. That's their comfort zone. I'll be honest, I've never been one to really like the inside lane on super speedways. I typically like the bottom of the racetrack almost anywhere except for super speedways. I would definitely much rather be in the top lane. It's difficult because, you can definitely find yourself caught up in a crash easily on the top lane. There's no escape route up there, but I've always felt like that's the lane that I have the best chance to move forward in.
I feel like you're calling those inside line drivers a little soft. I felt personally attacked.
No,
I'm just messing with you right now. These drivers working their way down into turn number 3. Dan Berg did choose the inside. He is the leader. He's going to lead us to the green flag here on lap number 33. Your top 5 as they run. Dan Berg, Donnie Honeycutt, Chris Polson sitting in 3rd, David Moyer in 4th, Bryce Hinton in 5th. In 6th, it's Evan Janik, Ryan Bittler in that number 9 machine. He's been kind of hovering around the top 10 here. He's in 7th. Andy Berry up to the top 10 for the first time. He's in 21st or in the 8th position, that 21 machine. Brandon Waldrop in 9th in that 50, and Dustin Lewis back to 10th in that number 33. I think he'll be up front before too long. Right now, the car up front is no longer in front. The pace car peels off. It's going to be Berg here in the restart zone to get us back underway here at Daytona. Leaders get away cleanly. Looks like the rest of the field is going to follow suit. Berg on the inside, but boy, that number 22 Honeycutt machine found some horses there on the outside down into turn 1.
Yeah, a great launch right there from Donnie Honeycutt, and he is able to pull even right here with Dan Berg. Unfortunately for Donnie, though, he doesn't have any help in that top lane right there. All the help is lined up on the bottom right behind Dan Berg. A driver needs to jump out there behind Donnie Honeycutt. Honeycutt is holding on very strong right there, considering he doesn't have much help.
Honeycutt muscling to the top of the field, but he's falling like a rock now without help, but it looks like it's going to be David Moyer to the rescue on that outside line. Drivers continue to work their way around the track. To the outside they go. I know bear with us with a few little technical difficulties. I think they got worked out now, but Chris, that outside line lost about 5 or 6 car lengths there on the front of the field. Now they've regrouped. They've gathered it up. David Moyer, and it looks like Tyler Merkel back there in that number 6 machine have found something. The number 51 of Bill Hull up into the top 15, nearly top 10 for the first time tonight as they go through turn 2 down the backstretch.
Yeah, Dan Berg right here is still in the lead with that push from that number 26 of Polson. Hinton right there, right behind them. We saw the 26 and the 28 battling it out for the stage win, and here they are. They're still up here at the front of this thing. David Moyer delivering the push to the back bumper of Honeycutt, Donnie Honeycutt, that is, in that top lane. David Moyer has a significant amount of damage to the back end of that number 47 machine. See if we can get all the cars back in frame right here. There they are, and yeah, but he's still holding strong right there despite all that damage he has to the back bumper.
All that damage is in the back, but he's looking out front right now as he pushes the back bumper, that number 22 of Donnie Honeycutt. That outside suddenly looking stronger here for the first time since this restart on lap number 33. Oh, a little bit of contact there between Berg and the number 26 of Polson. Both show a little bit of discretion, lift the throttle, but it's going to propel the outside line as they lunge down into turn number 3.
Yeah, the 22 right here of Donnie Honeycutt out to a slight advantage right here as the field works its way off turn 4. They get really close together right there. There's almost some contact between both the front row and the second row right there as they work their way off of turn number 4. These drivers are going to keep it straight, though. All of that jockeying for position, though, is going to put Dan Berg back out to about a car length lead over that outside lane.
Yeah, that outside line is looking a little jittery right now. I got a case of the yips maybe on the outside. Some of those drivers kind of wiggling around a little bit. And right now, ooh, that number 48, Chris, I'm curious. He keeps on lunging up towards the middle of the track about a lane up, and it looks like the 26 doesn't really want to go there with them. keep an eye on that because that could create a moment here any time. The 22 lunges down to the inside. Donnie Honeycutt takes the lead, and he's clear out in front. Chris, if you're that front car, are you trying to manage that lead, or are you trying to maybe figure out what lane has the energy and shift with it? Looks like if so, Honeycutt was a little bit late.
Yeah, we haven't really seen a lot of that tonight. I haven't really seen a lot of drivers, like move as, it's Dan Berg is very close to David Moyer right there in turns 1 and 2. Some very, very close, intense side drafting right there as we ride on board with the number 6 machine right here of Tyler Merkel. This is his perspective. You can see the damage to the back bumper of David Moyer. Got to be real careful with pushing a car that has that much rear damage to it, But yeah, you definitely try to keep tabs on that and try to, work both sides of the street. It's kind of early for that. I think we're definitely going to see a lot of that as the race progresses on right here. But yeah, I wouldn't be a bit surprised at all to see it, in the closing stage of this race.
That outside line picks up the energy. And Chris, these cars look like they are wiggling about the track. It looks like the handling right now is not necessarily ideal for several of these drivers here. Coming to lap number 40, 10 laps away from the conclusion of stage number 2. And yeah, you mentioned it. Oof, tough driving out here. Lots of checkups, lots of stack-ups happening, adding up as the laps go by.
There is, and I'm seeing a lot, we talk about risk versus reward in the pre-race. I'm seeing a lot of risk right here. The 48 and the 47 are bouncing off each other for second place on the track, and just not a lot of room being given from the top lane to the bottom lane. This is a quick way to find yourself tore up if you continue to make that door-to-door contact. That side drafting does play a key role, but you also got to be around at the end of this thing to challenge for the win.
Yeah, I mentioned that 48 kind of drifting up the track. I don't know if that is intentional or maybe just the preferred line for that driver, maybe a vantage point sort of situation, but it could potentially cause problems. That's going to be something drivers like David Moyer and Tyler Merkel on that outside are going to have to be leery of, but it's also seemingly been effective in the sense that outside line right now has really struggled to regain the momentum since that restart, and part of that might be because very well this effective side drafting, when these two cars get close together and they pack air on the sides of the car, it creates a little bit more drag and slows the line down just a little bit. And so far, drivers are looking to use that to their advantage. But Christian mentioned it, that can go wrong in a heartbeat. One day you can be the hero, the next day you can be the villain.
You definitely can right here, as Chris Polson right here going to jump out in front of David Moyer right there. Moyer's been leading the top lane right here, but now he is the pusher, pushing that number 26, that Taco Bell ride of Chris Polson. Polson is going to go up the track a good bit. Moyer's going to try to fill that gap in the middle right there. Oh, yeah, and Polson just was way too high up right there entering turn 3, and just left a lot of racetrack open for those drivers to fill the gap up the middle. So put David Moyer back to the lead of this lane right here, with Tyler Merkel right behind him in that Hot Wheels number 6.
That number 26, Chris Polson, drops to the back of the field. He's probably going to be looking just to make it to the final stage. I see him just contact with that wall for the 26, struggling just a little bit. Yeah, he has lost the draft, but with just 9 laps left in this stage, he'll probably remain on the lead lap. But out front right now, you can see it on the screen. It is a tight battle for the lead. Donnie Honeycutt with a mirror full of Dan Berg, and right behind them, it's pole sitter Brian Hinton, that number 28, as the inside line looks to continue that momentum. But up top is that number 47, that green and black machine of David Moyer. He's got the Hot Wheels machine of Tyler Merkel right behind him, and Moyer in the number 48 of Berg. Christian mentioned it. If you're David Moyer, are you starting to get a little bit frustrated with that 48 and maybe feeling like he's pushing you up the track just a little bit?
Well, yeah, and I think this, I think it maybe is a little bit of both, honestly. Just, I'm seeing, that top lane. And I don't know if maybe it's just our perspective because, the 48's a little bit off the bottom if it looks like the top lane is kind of pinching just a little bit. But, you kind of have to, in a way, just to be able to pull him forward. As David Moyer is really close to that inside lane right here. You just kind of put yourself in, at the mercy of those drivers on the inside when you pinch them as hard as he is right here. But like I said, it's also some door-to-door contact with the 9 right there of Ryan Bittler. You kind of have to in order to be fast like that. So it's a double-edged sword for sure.
Double-edged sword. And right now, one car in the wall, a little bit further back around the 11th or 12th position. They get it gathered back up, but that was a tense moment. If I'm looking for the car that I think
we got trouble.
Trouble down the backstretch right now. One car off the pace. Everyone else continues on. And looking at the back of the field, I believe that was the number 26, Chris Polson. And that had been kind of a moment coming, but they're still racing up front. 3 wide. That 51 machine up top right now. Bill Hull, not where you want to be. And I think maybe even Brandon Waldrop in that 50, maybe even a worse position on the inside.
Yeah, absolutely. That was Enoch Hancock in that number 1 machine, and Enoch did a great job of holding on to it. He's still going. We're still green. I spoke a little too soon that we got trouble. I thought that they were going to crash off of turn 2. But yeah, we are still going right here, and Donnie Honeycutt still has control of this race with Dan Berg out in the lead. David Moyer loose on that outside lane. These guys are playing with fire right here as we get to the end of stage number 2, Ellis.
Coming at 5 laps to go, playing with fire indeed. The question will be, will it be extinguished or will the fire erupt here in the final 5 laps of stage number 2? Side drafting has picked up just a little bit. That outside line is starting to use it to its advantage a little bit. David Moyer now within a car length of the front runner, Donnie Honeycutt. Dan Berg pushing Honeycutt.
Oh, we got trouble.
Big one. 4 cars. Gavin Hinson's in it. The 51's in it. The 46 is in it. The 43 is in it of Michael Cole. And suddenly all hell breaks loose in turn 1, Chris. And I have to say, no one watching is probably surprised at what they just witnessed.
Yeah, several cars involved right there. And yeah, not at all surprised by what we saw transpire right there between those drivers. I think that the contact is actually going to start around... I think it's going to be the 51 car, possibly into the back of, I believe that was the number 2 machine. We have a lot of drivers who are in different numbered cars tonight, so it's kind of making it a little bit of a challenge right here. I think that was Bill Hull, actually, that made some contact with, I think it was MJ Palmer, possibly in front of him.
MJ Palmer involved in that crash. Several drivers. Gavin Hinson really, Chris, walking away with, I think, the worst situation right now in that number 39. Several drivers you watching roll through the infield there. And that looks like that might have been... We're still learning the car numbers here, folks. I promise we're going to learn them. Don't worry. It's the first day of school. We'll remember those names.
While Ellis is doing that, I believe, Cam, we might, I'm not sure if we can go side by side right here. I know that we had a little bit of technical glitch right there on the replay, but I think I have one right here that we can take a look at. Here is Bill Hull in that number 51. He's on the outside lane in that Phoenix Racing number 51. Here he is charging up the outside lane right here. We'll slow it down right here for you. He's going to make a little bit of contact into the back bumper of Palmer right there in the number 2. We're going to see Palmer get turned down towards that inside. Palmer gets turned back up in front of the field right there. Several cars involved right there. You can see the number 9 right there of Ryan Bittler involved. The number 45 also involved. The 46, excuse me. That is Bradley Minor. We saw him with trouble earlier. There's Gavin Hinson. See the 01 of Jacob Shoemaker spinning down the inside as well. So unfortunately, this crash right here, Ellis, took out a lot of front runners. There's also that number 97 of Mark Cofield as well.
Yeah, the field has definitely been winnowed over the course of the first 45 laps. The first half of this race now in the books. Coming to lap 48. Working on finding out from race control what is going to be the situation if we're going to resume racing before the end of stage number 2, or if we're going to go ahead and call this the stage caution. KC757 in the chat says Bristow almost got clipped in that crash, but narrowly averted crisis. They're going through some of the comments, folks. We got lots of fans in here chiming in on who they're rooting for in this race. Tyler Hensley's got Debbie Hensley, Mandy Hensley, several Hensleys in the chat. Debbie in the chat rooting on Tyler Hensley in that number 53. We got Connor Lyons. Wondering if we saw the San Diego circuit for NASCAR in the 2026 season. I have, and here's my take on it. It feels a little bit boring, but you, Chris, thoughts on that?
Yeah, it does feel a little bit boring, but I mean, with these street courses, you're just kind of limited, and I think that a lot of these street course organizers, the series that put them on, are kind of dealing with, like, oh, do we want pretty vistas in the background, or do we want to have a good racetrack? It's very difficult. What I want to know is, are we going to have any type of offshore boats ready to retrieve drivers who maybe go for a dip?
Yeah, it's a little sketchy on that back straightaway there. I'm sure they're going to install some pretty significant catch fence, mechanisms there on that battleship row or whatever they're calling it. But right now, boy, Chris, these cars have felt like battleships out here tonight, taking quite a bit of heat there. In a race that saw 28 drivers start, I'm counting 18 drivers on the lead lap, and many of those have been involved in some of the collisions over the first 50 laps of the race or so. So drivers really, this is becoming a race of attrition. Who can avoid the most, I guess, and that could very well play a role in who winds up in victory lane. Folks, if you have joined us, we appreciate it so much. We are giving away that Dale Earnhardt Jr. diecast to one lucky fan at the end of the evening. If you're watching now and you can't stay up, feel free to come back, and here we do the choose rule. We'll see the choose beetle out on the track. Drivers making that left and right hand turn around that orange beetle. If you can't stay up tonight, check out the replay towards the end of the race. We'll type in the chat who won the giveaway. If they're not watching, they can email us, and we'll make sure they get that diecast. Right now, getting ready for the restart on lap number 50. And Chris, I'm thinking that they're going to be coming to lap 50. We're going to find out if they're going to do a one-lap shootout before we get the stage caution here. And, man, it just feels like whenever we have these stages, the cautions always fall so that we go green. We get everyone excited, and we bring it back down for another caution. But totally understand. Sometimes that is just how the cookie crumbles, as they say. Working their way down the backstretch right now. 18 drivers who are still on the lead lap, hoping their cookie doesn't crumble here, and they find themselves in the middle of a big one. And I don't know how big they can get anymore with the winnowing of this field that we have seen. But shout out right now, just looking at the field, Brandon Waldrop in that number 50. Loving what I'm seeing out of that car, just kind of staying out of trouble right now. If you're that number 50 machine, good looking paint scheme too, reflecting in the sun. It's got some monster on it. Is that like how would you describe that color, Chris? Is that a teal? What do we got going on there?
Yeah, a little teal with it's kind of like the Hendrick style numbers also on it. It really makes it pop, like the yellowish neon style colors. That's a good combination right there. And yeah, the number 50 machine of Brandon Waldrop, he is teammates with Dan Berg. So only a couple rows between those two drivers. Have been trying to get hooked up all night, I think. And if they can keep it clean tonight, that might be a potent combination to look out for.
It very well could be. We're going to have a one-lap shootout, 10 stage points on the line. Top 10 will get points. It's going to be Donnie Honeycutt taking that green flag. He breaks away from the top three. Second and third, Dan Berg and David Moyer. They're side by side down the front straightaway, headed down into turn number 2. Moyer's really hoping that bright blue number 6 of Tyler Merkel can get to the back bumper and give him a push to the front. Whereas Bryce Hinton joins the fold, and boy, big jump there on the outside, Chris.
Yeah, and you saw the outside, not as many cars up there, but they got organized pretty quickly, the 47 and the 6 right here. And here comes the 21 of Andy Berry and the 60 of Evan Janik to join them on the outside. We're coming to the end of stage 2.
End of stage 2 through turns 3 and 4. It's 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. A little bit of contact there between Moyer and Dan Berg. Can that outside line find the momentum they need, or will Donnie Honeycutt take the stage win? Moyer lunges to the outside. He doesn't have enough, though. That is going to bring out the yellow flag to end stage number 2, and we're setting sail here into the second half of the race. We're going to give him a second to get gridded back in order before we go ahead and proclaim the stage point winners. But we can say without a shadow of a doubt, Donnie Honeycutt did win that stage by about half a car length. David Moyer was just a little bit too little, too late there, Chris.
Yeah, what a great stage from Donnie Honeycutt. We saw him early on in this stage kind of, leading the charge on the outside without a whole lot of help, Ellis. And he's done a really nice job in that 22 machine, and he's kept that thing up there near the front. He's been very quick. David Moyer, leading the outside lane for a lot of that stage right there. Dan Berg on the inside for a lot of that. We're starting to see some contenders, some drivers that, seem to be pretty comfortable in the draft and pretty comfortable doing what, they've been doing right here. I'll be curious to see how many drivers maybe have been just kind of taking it easy and riding and kind of seeing maybe them make their lunge right here in this final stage of the race. These drivers can go about 20 to 22 laps on a tank of fuel. Right now, working lap 52, you have to think they're all going to come down pit road this time by. That'll put them making it to about lap, roughly around 75, Ellis. So expect to see at least one pit stop here in the final stage of this thing.
And, with the smaller field, we very well could get 23 laps in green flag action. And coming back to a storyline we talked about at the top of the hour and during the pre-race, Chris, teammates, teamwork. Going to come down to pit stops. You got to make sure you got at least one car. You want to have more than one car come down with you. If we do, in fact, get green flag pit stops, as we talk about what could potentially happen. Of course, we have no idea, but you want to have a dance partner. Why is it important to have the more cars, the merrier coming down pit road together? Why does that impact speed?
Well, as you know, because you've been in the chat with me during these super speedway races, this is usually when I get the most animated is when we come to pit road for green flag pit stops, just because how important it is to be clean on and off pit road and to be as organized as you can possibly be. You cannot come to pit road by yourself. If you do, your chances for winning are over with. You have to be clean on and clean off and be able to get organized very quickly off of pit road. That's why everybody has a part to play that comes down together in a pack. And these drivers right here come down pit road right here together looking for some clean stops right here under caution.
Getting ready for some yellow flag pit stops. Drivers going to have to make sure they don't slide into their pit box across the line. Keep it a little bit further away from that left-hand wall. Make that pit crew's job as easy as possible. Track position comes into play. Who's going to win the race off pit road? We're going to watch those pit stop times there on the bottom of the screen. And while these drivers are working on their pit stops, one driver comes off. That's Tyler Honeycutt. He's going to lead the race off of pit road. Dan Berg's going to be second. The race is on for third between David Moyer and Tyler Merkel. But it looks like Merkel got that third or that fourth position, whereas David Moyer won that battle with Merkel. He takes the third position, I should say. Just talking about what we can expect to see in these final, what's going to be about a 37-lap shootout, about the final, third. Actually, that's bad math. I'm not even going to try to figure out the fraction there. I'm not a math teacher. Should have known better. But in roughly 30 odd laps, this thing is going to go by quickly, especially if we run these 50-second laps during green flag action. That's 25 to 30 minutes left of racing. How important, Chris, was that last finish in terms of being a dress rehearsal for these drivers, seeing what their cars could do, how long it might take to climb 3 or 4 positions?
Yeah, I think it's very important. And I think that's one thing that is very important to bring up when it comes to these drivers who are riding in the back, Ellis, versus the ones who have been racing the whole time. You talk about dress rehearsals. These drivers who are up here at the front of this thing, they got a great dress rehearsal right there, but they've just been rehearsing the whole race. I have found that the few times, that I have just decided to ride in the back, I kind of just don't have the best, frame of what I need to do in the closing stages. I don't really know how the draft works. I don't know really how to, work with each other, like with my fellow competitors. And these drivers who have been up here at the front, they've been dress rehearsing the whole time right here as the field is going to come by the choose beetle right here and choose either inside or outside. The 43 of Michael Cole, the 1 of Enoch Hancock, and the 26 of Chris Polson right here, Ellis, they all came down pit road at the end, or just before the end of stage number 2, and they decided to stay out here for some track position.
Yeah, I like this call. Maybe getting them some experience like you're talking about. Let's shout out to Enoch Hancock in that number 1. This is the first time we've seen him at the front of the field in that black and red machine. Just looking through some of the stats for Enoch, ran 5 races last season with NSRLA, and looking with average start of 7th position and positions gained on average 6 positions a race. This guy can move through the field like no other, and maybe a little bit of untapped potential here. 2 top 10 finishes and just 5 starts. He's got pace. So he's going to be one maybe to keep an eye on this season that could very well have a breakout season. Not to mention, he's got just a good looking paint scheme. Black and red with a little bit of orange thrown in there. Nothing wrong with those colors.
No, nothing at all. And yeah, he made that great save off. He's that one that I called wrecking off turn 2 at the end of stage 2, and he didn't wreck. He held on to it. So yeah, great recovery from that. And yeah, finds himself with some track position here. It's the best track position that he's had all night right here. Let's see what he can do with it. I agree with you, Ellis. I think that's a good call for those drivers that are up there at the front of this thing. Everybody's going to have to pit one more time, including them. I believe I don't think they're going to have any issue. It's going to be close making it to the end of the race. They obviously have to feel confident that they can making it to the end of the race on one more stop. So, with these caution laps right here, this probably puts them over their number.
I think you're absolutely right. We'll keep an eye on it. Ryan J in the chat, upset that he's out of the race, but still watching. Appreciate you, Ryan, tuning in. Right now, tune into this restart. It's going to be Michael Cole and Enoch Hancock. Cole gets away faster on that inside line. That's Chris Polson back up to 2nd place. Doing battle with Hancock now. That number 1 machine to his outside. Side by side right now. Battle for 2nd behind the leader, Michael Cole. Wide open down into turn number 1, and that number 43.
Yeah, Michael Cole with a big jump right here. It's almost maybe like he was too far out in front right here. But Chris Polson's not going to have anywhere to go on the outside, so he can't utilize that momentum. He's going to slide in line right here, deliver a push to the 43 of Michael Cole. Enoch Hancock on the outside with a big push from Donnie Honeycutt. Almost going to clear that inside into turn 3, but can't quite do it right here as we're side by side through turns 3 and 4.
Side by side, 2 by 2 by 2. That inside line right now has the momentum. It's being led by the 43 of Michael Cole with Chris Polson, that Taco Bell machine, in 2nd. A 2nd in line of that inside line. And then the 48 of Dan Berg is that 3rd car in line right now. But the momentum shifts now to the outside. The number 1 of Enoch Hancock gets a big old push from the 22. And boy, Chris Polson gave everyone just a moment to take their breath there. Gasped a little bit as that car wiggled up to the top of the track, but gets it back down as they work their way down the backstretch.
Yeah, Chris Polson in that 26 almost gave everybody a Baja Blast, whether or not they wanted it or not right there, but he's going to get back in line right here on the bottom lane. We got close right there also, almost some contact. I think that Enoch Hancock wanted to jump down in front of Michael Cole. He also thought better of it right here. Some good heads-up driving by these drivers to keep us clean and green here at Daytona.
56 laps of 90 complete, just 34 laps left in the book, and that's probably less time than it took Chris to make sure he had that Baja Blast joke canned and ready to go for Chris Polson at any moment during the race. We're just going to pretend like you hadn't been sitting on that one for a while, buddy. Right now, that outside line struggling a little bit, but they're going to regain their momentum. The number 1 of Chris Polson, the number 1 of, Enoch Hancock. My stats are flipping all over the place here, as the kids say, crashing out just a little bit. But right now, Michael Cole looking pretty good in that inside, just maybe managing. Chris, is there anything to be said for trying to manage the line as he tries to ride the middle of the track just a little bit, maybe giving a little bit of an inside line to that 26 who's showing a little bit of discretion, but not working right now maybe for the 43?
Yeah, they might be in communication. The 26 of Chris Polson might be telling the 43 of Michael Cole that he's getting a little bit hot. That engine temperature is maybe going up a little bit, water temperature increasing as he's been tucked up behind him. So yeah, maybe just giving a little bit of a headlight, giving a headlight to the 26 machine. Trying to be clear, and we see the 26 deliver a push right here to that number 43. Here comes that outside line, the 7 right here with a good push from the 22 up the outside. That's Donnie Honeycutt trying to push Enoch Hancock clear of that bottom lane. Been pretty even right here since the restart, Ellis, side by side for several rows.
Yeah, these are some new names really entering in the top 10 that we haven't talked about necessarily a whole lot over the course of the evening. Andy Berry, one of those, that outside line, fourth car in line, that red number 21 machine of Andy Berry. Watch him up at the top of the track right now. As soon as I say that, maybe got a little bit of the wall and opened himself up to a Casey Bristow maybe making the pass, but several new names entering into the top 10. Brandon Waldrop back up there in the 50. And as soon as I say that, that outside line gets broken up just a little bit. The 26 dips below the yellow line for just a moment. That was Chris Polson there in that Taco Bell machine. Not sure what happened there. A little twitch or glitch in the steering, but he gets it gathered back up, and that gives the opportunity to that outside line to regain the momentum. And look at that push Donnie Honeycutt delivered to the back of Enoch Hancock.
Yeah, seeing that 26 car kind of move around a little bit. Not sure if the handling's going away on that Polson machine right there. But yeah, you saw the outside lane kind of make a charge up right there. Here comes Polson back up to the rear bumper of the 43 of Cole, trying to deliver a push to Michael down the backstretch right here. And he's kind of peeking to the outside right here. Not sure if he has intentions to go to the top lane or maybe just wants to get some clean air on the nose right here. He had a brief moment to jump up right there. Here comes a 47 up the middle. That is David Moyer in the 47. He is going to clear Donnie Honeycutt. Honeycutt is hung out on that top lane right there. And David Moyer, we've seen him make that move a couple times right now. If you're Enoch Hancock, you better not leave a gap up the middle because David Moyer will fill that hole.
David Moyer has been like a bulldog when those holes open up in the middle and thought about maybe going for the lead there on the number 1 of Enoch Hancock. David Moyer, Chris, I'm going to add him to my list of drivers that I could potentially see knocking off their first win tonight at Daytona. Now just 30 laps left. The final third of the race has begun. The pay window is just starting to open, and you can see the intensity picking up 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 all the way back to 12th position, 6 rows deep. Now make that 7 rows deep. They're led by Enoch Hancock on the outside and Michael Cole in that bright yellow and black number 43 machine. The momentum seems to be at the top line right now. David Moyer now the leader of that top line as Enoch Hancock jumps to the bottom.
Yeah, and he's got Casey Bristow in that purple and green, that bright machine right there. Second car on the outside pushing him as we look from overhead right here. Those cars are tandemed up right there through turns 1 and 2. A big shove to David Moyer. That's exactly what he wanted, a little bit of freedom to be able to let that thing run. And, man, that is a potent combination in that outside lane right there. The 11 and the 47 hooked up nice and tight.
I want to add Casey Bristow to my list. I got 3 drivers I'm picking to win. I know the rules don't work that way, but I'm changing them right now. Almost contact between Michael Cole and David Moyer. Chris, David Moyer has not been shy of, I'm not going to call it pinching. I don't want to call it pinching because there's room for a car down. Oh, Chris, big issues with the number 54 in the middle of the track without a hood on. Not sure what that driver was thinking as the field approached from behind, but he just about took out 12 or 13 cars, and I maybe think he was hoping drivers would go around him, but at the rate of speed that he was going, he just came up really fast, and drivers had to react, and react they did, Chris.
Yeah, that was the 54 of Tyler Honeycutt, and I think that what happened was, the drivers just didn't start shifting up the track until, it was kind of too late. Usually drivers start communicating that, hey, we're going to run on a slow car right here. So, if you were running the bottom up there at the front of that thing and you make the move real fast, the drivers that maybe were behind them just didn't know they were coming up as quickly as they were on that wounded number 54 machine. But everybody did a nice job right there of keeping it straight. We're still green here at Daytona.
Yeah, still green. Just want to update the situation. It's looking, despite what we just saw there, that we might see some green flag pit stops, which could really shake things up. And speaking of shake and bake, look at Evan Janik pull down to the inside to work his way by Donnie Honeycutt there. We got a new leader, but we also have a lap car up at the top of the track. Can drivers work their way around them? And my goodness, Chris, in the span of just about 2 laps, we've seen 2 lap cars, not necessarily by any fault of their own, really almost play a major role in a collision there. Drivers, you mentioned a little bit late to react. Who do you put that on? Who's kind of in charge of making that call? Is that on the leader? Is it on the lap car? Or is it just on somebody?
Yeah, well, the first one, I didn't really see the beginnings of it. I kind of saw it after it happened, so I can't really comment too much on that one. But that one right there, I kind of put on the lap car. The 0-1 right there, Jacob Shoemaker was running the bottom in turns 3 and 4, and then he just shifted to the top all of a sudden right in front of the field. And if you're a leader and you're approaching a lap car, a damaged car, you just ask for a little bit of predictability out of those cars. Just continue to run the same line that you have been running. Luckily we avoided disaster right there as those drivers approached the wounded 0-1 machine.
Oh boy, big moment over that was almost there between Bradley Minor and David Moyer. Contact almost brought both of them up into the wall, but we avert crisis on the 3rd consecutive lap. And I was just about to talk how we might have green flag pit stops, but I might retract my statement here. In all seriousness, though, if we get there, we're looking at the first window of cars really needing to come down pit road in about, we suspect, 4 to 5 laps. And those cars are going to be Enoch Hancock along with Michael Cole. And the good news is they found each other on the track. The bad news is that they're going to have to come before everybody. That's David Moyer. The 21 of Andy Berry. Kenny collected several cars sideways. We're not going to get a caution quite yet. They're out of the racing groove. The race director keeps the race green flag right now. 24 laps left, and I like the call, Chris. All cars out of harm's way. I really like that decision to let the drivers race it out, and we continue here. We might see green flag pit stops, and we're about maybe 4 laps away from the first set of those. But even without those cars, we're probably somewhere around 8 laps from the rest of the field coming down. So we're really getting down to the thick of it, and pit stops could very well determine the outcome of this race, Chris.
Yeah, they very well could. And we might be able to go side by side right here, Cam, if we could, to possibly see what happened right there. We got a replay queued up right here. Watch David Moore in the 47, first car on the outside, gets a big push right down there into that inside lane, but he saves it. And while that was going on, I'll kind of rewind a little bit because I missed the beginning of it right there. There's the 21 machine of Andy Berry in the checkup because they thought it was going to be a crash just like we did. He got hit from behind as he was checking up right there. We can see the number 6 machine kind of slide down. That's Tyler Merkel right there. Chris Polson gets into the back of Andy Berry. Look at those cars. Oh, and Brandon Waldrop's hood goes flying up into the air. Some big damage to the 50 car, unfortunately. Could have definitely been much worse, but definitely unfortunate for those 3 drivers who were affected more than others.
Unfortunate turn of events for a handful of drivers, including Andy Berry and Brandon Waldrop. But the field marches on here. Through turns 1 and 2 we go. Just 22 laps remaining here in Daytona. Really, the final quarter of the race is underway. The pay window is now fully open. Evan Janik leads the way on the inside, but look at the momentum David Moyer and Dustin Lewis have along now with Casey Bristow on the outside. 3 cars working together up top, 3 cars working together down bottom. Equal energy really in both lanes in terms of the amount of cars. But right now, that inside line, Chris, right now, if I'm trying to make a prediction about where I want to be at this race, at the end. I think I want to be on the inside because I just haven't seen the outside really be able, at least often, to pull off that pass, and it seems to be the more stable way around here.
Yeah, it does seem like the outside lane has had a little bit more difficulty tonight. Once you get control of the bottom, you can kind of maintain it. Yeah, if I'm Evan Janik, I really like my position. I really like where I am right here. I've got a good pusher behind me. That's Donnie Honeycutt. Donnie's been up here near the front of this thing all night. I don't think that the 22 is going to be content to just ride behind him for the entirety of this run. We'll have to see how this progresses as they approach a slow car up ahead there. This Tyler Honeycutt in the 54. He's going to stay up on the wall right here, stay out of these drivers' way. But yeah, I think I agree with your assessment about the top lane. We've seen some fast drivers up there, but it's hard to get to the lead, it seems.
It really does feel like the energy is there, but it just can't really seal the deal. And we continue to see that top five have kind of broken away from sixth position Enoch Hancock. And right now, that breakaway is just about, and it's already a race, Chris.
We got trouble.
Wow, big trouble between the top three. We're going to remain under green flag conditions right now. They gather it back up. Evan Janik might live to fight another day. He's out of the draft. The top eight now lead the way, and that started with one car, Evan Janik, dipping down to the bottom. Here we go. We'll see that in a moment. But the top three now coming down pit road, led by Bradley Minor. That's the one of Enoch Hancock and the number 43 of Michael Cole. Evan Janik going to take the opportunity, maybe lucking out, Chris. Evan Janik finding three cars in front of him. These are going to be the final pit stops potentially of the race. They're the first biters on pit road. Four cars are going to come down together. We're going to be keeping an eye on the rest of the field right now. Casey Bristow leads the way down the front straightaway. That's a five-car pack. Bristow, Merkel, Lewis, Berg, and Honeycutt right behind them. That's five cars. The other pack is going to be four cars. Just looking through how things are going, I'm trying to find everyone else on the track. We're going to have to wait a moment for it to shake out. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if these drivers right here, what they want to do, they're probably screaming at each other right now. Run close, run tight together, keep it close. We want to try to run our fastest laps of the race right here, right now. I'm looking around right here to see maybe some other drivers that are coming off pit road, and everybody is really scattered coming off pit road. I don't see a lot of organization from some of the other ones who just came to pit. So I like my position if I'm in one of these top five cars right now.
I think I agree with that right now. Watching the top five draft down the back straightaway into high speed turns number 3 and 4. That's Casey Bristow in that white and purple machine. Tyler Merkel in that number 6. And here comes the cavalry down pit road, led by Bristow, Merkel, and Dustin Lewis and Dan Berg, along with Donnie Honeycutt. Looks like everyone made it down to pit road speed, and now we're going to really be able to see where this thing is going to shake out. We're going to be watching that other pack as these cars come down pit road, 5 cars deep. It's going to be a 5-car pack. Chris, you mentioned no organization, it seemed like, in that first pack to pit. The second pack maybe going to have a bit more organization, but that throws Bryce Hinton as we watch him and Vincent Short now, the first 2 cars on the track, first and second. They're coming up on the number 54. Sorry, that's number 54. He's a lap down. And I'm looking for the first car, really, that we're going to be keeping an eye on. Casey Bristow. These cars are coming off the pit road right now, and you got to think that Enoch Hancock is leading that other pack. They're in 10th position. We're watching 10th position right now to see where they come out on the rest of the pack. Enoch Hancock in 10th, chasing down Casey Bristow.
Yeah, that's the battle right here. Enoch Hancock has a run right here. I mentioned before, I might have spoke a little bit too soon that I didn't think that those drivers maybe had a chance, but they got organized and lined up very quickly and did one heck of a job. And they have caught these leaders right here. There's Donnie Honeycutt. There's Dustin Lewis. They have caught those drivers.
Boy.
They got lined up, and they did a whale of a job to be able to run them down.
And if you're Casey Bristow right now, you feel good in the lead, but what you feel bad about is you're all on your lonesome here with about 7 cars drafting with each other. Now, to his advantage might be that 26 car. Can he potentially use Chris Polson as a draft partner just to maybe pick up a little bit more speed? The answer appears to be no. We're coming down to 15 laps to go, and right now, Casey Bristow in first, but he's a man on an island as the rest of the pack charges to the inside line. They're going to make mincemeat of Casey Bristow here, Chris.
Yeah, they're going to have just such a huge run. Here comes Enoch Hancock to the outside.
Enoch Hancock.
Yeah, a great push from Evan Janik behind him. Janik with that right front damage from that contact we saw with David Moyer down the backstretch. That's not holding him up at all, though, right here as he finds himself pushing Hancock to the lead.
Hancock now to the lead. Casey Bristow second. The outside line stalls out with a little bit of a wiggle from Evan Janik. But look at the big old push from Casey Bristow to the one of Enoch Hancock up front of the inside. What it does is it gets Hancock loose, and it allows that outside line to regain the momentum as they shoot like a rocket ship down the backstretch into turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, and right now we've got that number 46 machine lined up behind Evan Janik. That's Bradley Miner. Bradley has overcome so much adversity tonight. And look at him right here, tandeming with that number 60, that Amsoil machine of Evan Janik, trying to push Janik right back up here to the lead. We've been talking about the struggles of the top lane tonight, all night tonight, Ellis. Looks like right here it's working pretty well for those two.
Working pretty well for Janik and Miner, who's down a teammate after that 54. Tyler Honeycutt had some damage earlier in this race. Has looked like he's found a new friend out on the track in Evan Janik in that bright red and blue 60 Amsoil machine. They now are in the first and second positions, or at least Janik slots into the first position. But as soon as I say that, Enoch Hancock fights back. It's 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. Top 10 side by side through turns 3 and 4. Coming now to 13 laps to go in the Daytona opener for the NSRLA Downtown Auto Sales Series.
Yeah, a couple of good pushers lined up second in each row. We've seen Casey Bristow get lined up and be able to push a lot of drivers free and clear of the competition. So if I'm Enoch Hancock, I feel pretty confident about having him behind me. And we've seen that 46 car of Bradley Miner pushing his teammate Tyler Honeycutt in the early stages. If I'm Evan Janik, I got to feel pretty confident having him behind me as well. Here we are riding on board. This is the helmet cam of Bradley Miner. You see him pushing Evan Janik right here. They've lost a little bit of ground compared to where they're... Oh, hey, that's the 54 machine on the inside. One of the lap cars kind of... the inside lane was kind of juking around right there, but they're able to get free.
Able to get free indeed. They cross the line and come to lap 79, 12 laps to go. That's Enoch Hancock and Casey Bristow. Tyler Merkel back there in that bright blue Hot Wheels machine. He's third in line on the inside. And Dan Berg, the number 48, back inside the top 7. He's that fourth car on the inside line. And the outside line continues to try to muscle for every inch of track position they can get, led by Evan Janik. But right behind him, it's Bradley Miner. They're side by side for the lead, Chris. And I want to bring in a little bit of information, a little bit of insights into that number 11 of Casey Bristow. Looking at his stats over the past season, Casey Bristow average running position of 13th, but average finish of 18th. Does that make you concerned for the finishing reliability of that 11 here in the final 11 laps, Chris?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, anything can happen here at Daytona. You know, you can find yourself, you know, running the perfect race and just something completely out of your control can affect the outcome. So it does a little bit, but also that works in, you know, in the opposite way as well. You know, you can find yourself being extremely fortunate in the closing stages of this thing. So, yeah, it's something we'll definitely have to keep our eyes on and maybe, you know, think back to at the end of this thing as we're looking from the back bumper here of Enoch Hancock back at that Buzz Lightyear number 11 machine. Ellis, I didn't notice it until now, but it actually says Space Ranger Bristow on the up above the window net where the driver's name goes.
I like that paint scheme. Could be a cool story here tonight if Bristow is able to pull off that win. We're just going to have to wait 10 laps to find out, folks. Final 10 laps here from Daytona. If you are joining us live, you have joined at the perfect time. Do not go anywhere because this is going to be a wild one. It's already delivered all the action, but we're setting up for an all-time classic finish at Daytona. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure to hit it. Doesn't cost you a thing. It is the best way you can help our channel. We're going to give away a Dale Earnhardt Jr. diecast. We're going to announce the winner here in just a few laps, so be sure to hang around. It is going to get wild, and it's already there, Chris. Battle front row between Evan Janik and Bradley Minor. They've been working together for the last 10 laps, but right now they're finding themselves on opposite ends of the racetrack.
Yeah, they definitely are right here. Evan Janik decided to take the inside lane right there as he cleared Enoch Hancock to put himself in position to lead that lane. Unfortunately, once he did that, the outside lane started to make some ground up on the outside right there. The 46 of Bradley Minor, Donnie Honeycutt in the 22. I'll be honest, Ellis, I'm not sure if there's a relation between the two Honeycutts, but we felt confident that the 54 and the 46 were teammates, so maybe the 22 is a teammate as well. But here comes he thought about going down there, and he's decided.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah, a little bit uncertainty right there from the 46. Which lane do you block?
You got to be careful with that because by swerving back and forth, oh man, Evan Janik cut that 46 a break across the line. Just 8 laps left. That's Bradley Minor leading the way on the inside. Meanwhile, Donnie Honeycutt shot out like a rocket with a push from the 33 of Dustin Lewis, who finds himself in the top 5 once again. Tries to push them to the lead, but that outside line loses a little bit of energy, and Bradley Minor now finds himself on the inside with no one to his outside, but that suddenly changes in a moment's notice. Donnie Honeycutt right back up to the front with a big old push from Dustin Lewis again. Chris, what I'm seeing is that push could happen down the back straightaways, but look at the ground that they lose on the middle of the corner and the exit. That's why I'm not sure I want to be on the outside line coming to the checkered flag.
Yeah, it seems like they're losing ground like at the worst possible time when it comes to turns 3 and 4 especially. I think the 3 and 4 has been more affected by it than 1 and 2. It seems like the push off of turn 2 has been pretty good to the top lane. But yeah, it seems like through 3 and 4, maybe a loss of momentum, and I'm not sure if maybe the wind playing havoc a little bit on the track. Maybe causing some of that, but Evan Janik now is leading that outside lane. He's got Donnie Honeycutt behind him right here. So we know Evan Janik's not afraid to switch lanes. He's being very aggressive right here in the closing stages, trying to pick up this checkered flag.
Janik leading that outside, but right now the inside line continues to have the momentum. Minor, Hancock, and Bristow, those are your top 3. The battle for the 4th position is between Tyler Merkel and Donnie Honeycutt and Evan Janik. They look to settle that score, but right now Enoch Hancock sees the energy at the top of the racetrack, and he makes the move to cover it. Can he get the push from Evan Janik to go to the lead? A great maneuver by the driver of that number 1 machine.
Yeah, that's Enoch Hancock in that Jarrett Chevrolet right here. He's got a good push right here from Evan Janik, and look at the momentum of the top lane off of turn 2, Ellis. They're going to clear that bottom lane. Hancock's going to jump down to the bottom right here, though. He cleared the bottom lane, and he's going to retake control of this race.
5 laps. Coming at 5 laps to go, folks. If you've got racing fans, friends, send them here because this one's going to be an all-time classic. 5 laps left, side by side across the line. We've seen multiple dress rehearsals for that white flag and ultimately that checkered flag, but we have no idea who's going to win, who's going to come out on top. 5 laps left. They go down into turns 1 and 2, still side by side. Enoch Hancock swerved down to the inside a lap ago. He has since maintained that. Casey Bristow is his new dance partner as they come up on lap traffic at the top of the racetrack. They work their way by cleanly.
No! Trouble!
No, they do not work their way by cleanly. And Chris, I'm just going to call it like it is. You hate to see a lap car wipe out the field with 4 laps to go.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
What happened?
Yeah, we'll have to go back and watch it right here. But yeah, it looked like to me, we'll go back to see if we can see what happened right here. It looked like to me one of the lap cars, I couldn't tell which one it was pretty far off the wall. One of them was close to the wall, and one of them was pretty far off the wall. So yeah, the 0-1 and the 54, they're coming up to lap both of them right here. And yeah, the 0-1's a little, he's kind of wandering down the track a little bit. And unfortunately, kind of wanders down into the path
Took
right
out
there of
about
Evan.
10 cars.
Yeah, kind of wanders down the path of Evan Janik right there. So that's very unfortunate that happened right there. Yeah, you mentioned it. You hate to see that that took out some of the lead lap drivers right there.
That took out Casey Bristow. It took out Evan Janik. It took out Dustin Lewis. It took out Andy Berry. It took out Enoch Hancock. Those 5 drivers were in the top 7 positions when that chaos ensued. We're going to have a green-white checker. And Chris, we got to get Connor out of the chat here. He called it was going to be a overtime finish about 10 minutes ago. We love having Connor. I'm joking with you, Connor, but you have a knack for calling those, it seems like. Folks, we're going to go ahead and take this moment to announce the winner of the diecast. That is going to be Ryan Bittler in the chat. Ryan Bittler in the chat. You can email us. We actually, I believe we'll have your contact information. In this case, we'll get in touch with you. But Ryan Bittler, you are the winner of the diecast, that Dale Earnhardt Jr. diecast. Folks, if you didn't win tonight, do not worry. We're going to be handing them out all season long. And we got some big diecast giveaways planned as this season progresses. Big plans for the finish. We had them, but we're under caution, hopefully for the final time tonight, for an incident that started with some lap cars in the final 3 laps that collected about 5 of the top 8 drivers. And I don't know what's going to happen now, Chris. Bradley Minor in the lead. Casey Bristow has some damage, and I'm seeing Casey Bristow have a black flag. Looks like that has been cleared, though. So we got Minor, Bristow, Merkel, Short, and Moyer. Those are your top 5. The 53 of Tyler Hensley is also in that mix. And we got 13 cars on the lead lap right now.
We got 13 cars on the lead laps. A lot of drivers up here at the front of this thing, Ellis, have some damage to their cars. One of those cars that I think might have been lucky in getting through that, you mentioned it, Ellis, is that number 11 of Casey Bristow. I did see, in fact, I wonder, Cam, if we can maybe do a quick little side-by-side right here and maybe show, here is Casey Bristow, our current second-place runner. He's on the inside of the Buzz Lightyear colors, and you can see him, some contact there to the right front, and then he gets hooked into the outside wall right there by Evan Janik, and he's still on the racetrack electing, I believe, to... I mean, I don't blame him at all, Ellis. It's going to be a green-white checkered. We're going to go to overtime here. There's no way I'm pitting and giving up the second spot.
Absolutely not. I definitely understand that position. I think we're probably going to see the Choose Beetle this time by. I think this is obviously the most important Choose Beetle moment of the race, because we've talked about it all night long, Chris. That outside line has really struggled to maintain momentum. We've seen it be able to get momentum, but maintaining it on the outside has been a different story. I think maybe the handling of the car 1-2 lanes up the track just isn't what it is down by that yellow line. And I think drivers probably going to have to take that into account as we get ready to take the Choose Beetle parked up in the middle of the track. I believe that is parked up in the middle of the track right now. And the answer to that question is absolutely not. We got at least one more lap until we get that Choose Beetle. We do know that it's going to be a 2-lap shootout, a green-white checkered overtime finish. Ryan Bittler says, at least I won something. Absolutely. You are most welcome, Ryan. Alex Pollock in the chat was rooting for Evan Janik to win. Connor Lyons, I thought this new series was going to be a break from my fortune-telling abilities, but it's still happening. Yes, Connor, it is still happening. We love you so much, though. We're willing to overlook it. We'll let it slide. We'll let you hang around each and every week. Folks, we're giving away diecast every week this season for NSRLA in this Downtown Auto Sales series. If you have joined us for the first time, we are glad you found us. If this isn't your first time, though, we're also glad you chose to come back. You are the reason why we do it, besides these drivers. We love broadcasting. We love watching the racing. We love chatting with you. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. It's the best way you can support us, and it doesn't cost you a single dime. And share it with a friend as well. Let's get even more eyeballs on these drivers. And Chris, drivers lined up side by side. I'm just wondering if we didn't get the Beetle that time, if they're just, let's get this thing over with. Maybe thought the Beetle was bringing us bad luck tonight. Either way, I think we're getting ready for a restart.
Yeah, I think that they definitely took the choose. Just the Beetle wasn't on the track right there. And I do want to also kind of clean this up right here. Casey Bristow had his black flag cleared earlier, but he just had one reapplied by one of the race directors. So I'm not sure exactly what that was for or the reasoning for that. But right now he's lined up second on the outside with a black flag right here. So we'll see what happens here.
We're going to see what happens. That 11 car, we're being told, has a black flag. It was cleared earlier, but it's reappeared now. Pace car peels off, folks. We're getting ready to go. This is going to be it. Green, white, checkered finish. Bradley Minor takes the green flag. Casey Bristow second. Look out. Vincent Short into the top 3 for the first time in nearly 30 laps. He's doing battle with Casey Bristow. Side by side, they head down into turn number 1. David Moyer and Tyler Merkel in the next row.
Yeah, not a lot of clean cars out here on the racetrack, Ella. So will these drivers be able to, get hooked up with a driver who maybe has a clean car that can deliver pushes?
Oh boy.
Bristow's going to go to the outside with David Moyer behind him.
I like David Moyer as a pusher, and he's found one to push. Casey Bristow with a mirror full of that number 47. The top line finds the momentum once again into turn number 3 and 4. It's 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. The top 8, any one of them can win. Getting ready to come to the white flag here in Daytona. If we make it there, this race is official.
Oh, some contact. Bradley Minor turned around in front of the field. We're still green here at Daytona. Casey Bristow upside down.
Andy Berry now your leader with David Moyer in second. To the outside, David Moyer, Andy Berry, maybe the dark horse in that number 21 machine. Side by side, look out, Tyler Hensley for the first time in third.
Tyler Hensley to the outside. We're 3 wide for the win down the backstretch at Daytona. Hensley has some nice momentum, but we're still 3 wide as they approach turn number 3.
Michael Cole with a big push. Andy Berry, just Cole, stick with Berry. He's trying to find the inside. Berry doing everything he can to hold off Michael Cole, who's going to make one last charge, one last lunge to the outside. Can Andy Berry pull off the upset of the year? Berry wins it by about a nose at Daytona. It's not official yet. We're going to have to wait for the official confirmation. But my goodness, Chris, I don't know what to say. Andy Berry is your winner here at Daytona.
Andy Berry with a great victory right here at Ellis. Unofficially, he is the winner by 8 1/1000ths of a second. What a finish here at Daytona.
I cannot believe what I just saw. I am honestly so glad. I hate it for Casey Bristow. I hate it for some of the other cars involved in that, like Daniel or Dustin Lewis. But it gave us a hell of a finish here, folks. We are going to just take a moment. You collect your breath. We're going to take a moment to hear from our partners at Whiplash SimCams, and we're going to come back and we're going to hear from our top 3 finishers in 30 seconds. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. Back here in Daytona, we've almost caught our breaths, folks. We hope you have as well as we watch Andy Berry celebrate that victory with donuts in the Daytona infield. Look at this finish as they come across the line.
Yeah, this right here is coming to the white flag. That's Bradley Minor in the 46. Some contact with Casey Bristow. Minor gets turned driver's side into the wall. That's going to hook that Buzz Lightyear car of Casey Bristow. That number 11, he's going to spin back down there towards the infield grass. Chris Paulson right there in the number 26 hits him in the driver's door. That number 11 of Bristow goes up and over, tumbling down the front stretch right here. A wild ride for Casey Bristow and several other drivers right here as they were collected. There's Dan Berg squeezing on by right here. But while that was going on, Ellis and Cam, this was happening right here at the front of this thing. We'll just take one more look really quickly at the finish right here. That is Andy Berry on the inside, David Moyer in the middle, and that is that number 53 of Tyler Hensley. I thought Hensley might be able to clear him with the momentum down the backstretch right here.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And then all of a sudden, Michael Cole comes from out of the frame to give a big old push to Andy Berry. I was wondering where he was going to go, if he was going to try to go below the yellow line. He sticks with Berry. He makes the conservative call, knowing that he would have a chance to go to the outside. And, inevitably, he swings it to the outside, and I'll be damned if he almost didn't get there.
Yeah, he almost did right here. He gets really close, a little bit of side draft right there, and here they come towards the line right here. Andy Berry with a heck of a finish. Look at this pack coming across the line right here. There's Berry on the inside. There's Cole on the outside. And the finish was by that much right there as they came across the line.
That's what 8 1,000ths of a second, folks, looks like. It's a fraction of a second. The guy you didn't see, at least on the front row, was David Moyer. He secures a third place finish. We're going to go ahead and hear from David Moyer. We'll pull him in the broadcast booth right now. David Moyer, driver number 47. This is Ellis, Chris, and Cam up in the Slingshot TV booth. You got a copy.
Got a copy, guys.
Man, well, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the first time we've talked to you in the Slingshot booth?
First time and first podium ever.
Hey, man, well, first of all, we extend our congratulations to you, and we're finally glad to put a voice with the race car, the number 47. I want to start with the finish. You started there on the outside. You were given a big old push to Bristow. Talk to us about what those last two laps looked like, or what at least you can remember from it.
Oh, those last two laps, oh my God. Yeah, Bristow was behind me, gave me a big push. He had the black flag. He wasn't sure he was going to serve it or not, but he's like, let me push my teammate to the win. And he gave me a push, and I went for it, and it all went from there. It laid out the way it was going to go.
And you did a heck of a job. I want to talk to you also all night long. It's no one's going to deny it. It was a carnage-filled race, and Daytona can often deliver that sort of situation. But I want to talk to you about, we saw you have particularly a couple of close encounters with the number 48 of Dan Berg. I think both of you were just racing each other cleanly, but also really tightly. How tight was it out there tonight? And was that kind of a little bit of give and take? How do you feel about how you were racing out there?
I don't know the guy. I've never talked to him, but yeah, it's a lot of door banging back and forth, and luckily nothing came to a spin. But yeah, give and take, and it went from there. And unfortunately, during one of the cautions, I wrecked my ex teammate Michael Cole. Good friend. Just for obvious reasons, he went to a different team just because I can't race full time. But I felt so bad for wrecking him. And but yeah, a lot of door banging out there, a lot of rough calls, and I kept it going.
Man, you did a heck of a job, and don't feel too bad. Michael Cole came back to finish second, so he did all right for himself.
Yeah, I feel great for that one. I said sorry to him, but after seeing him come in second, I don't feel so bad now.
Absolutely, man. Well, we're going to be looking forward to watching you over the course of the season, and you definitely started it off on the right foot. Before we let you go celebrate this podium finish, your first ever podium, by the way, you got any shout-outs for the folks watching at home?
Yeah, big shout out to Black Flag, and especially Steven for his brother's birthday. For his his brother passed away, and big shout out for him for his brother's birthday. So goes to him.
Absolutely, man. Our thoughts are with him, and we'll let you go celebrate that third place finish. Congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. See ya.
All right, so you heard from David Moyer, third place finish. Now we're going to go ahead and hear from our second place finisher, Michael Cole.
Michael Cole, second place finisher here tonight. This is the Slingshot booth. You got a copy, bud?
Yeah.
Man, Michael, let's go to that last lap right there. We saw you escape all of the carnage right there coming off turn 4, coming to the white flag. And I think that Ellis, I think he said it best right there. You delivered one heck of a push right there to Andy Berry. You had 3 cars, 3 wide in front of you. Take us on that last lap and your approach right there with the options that you had in front of you.
Yeah, so got around that wreck. I mean, like I've been involved in like 4 wrecks. I've had to get my car fixed 4 times this race, and seen him wreck, and I got through, and I seen Andy, who is my teammate on Barry Performance, and so I seen him up front, tried to get around the 6, got around the 6, and I seen, I gotta. It's like Pokemon, dude. You got a 3-starter choice there, and I gotta go with my teammate. So push him. And I knew he was out front, so it was just 2 of the BPR cars up front. So I was like, well, let's take it 2 wide and see what happens. And man, dude, so close, man.
You were. Take us now. Coming to the checkered flag right there. We saw you guys. Attempt. You tipped to do a little bit of side drafting right there, coming to the line. It was really, really close, especially after all the adversity that you overcame right there. Just walk us through like those last 100 yards and the mentality that you had coming to the line there.
Yeah, so I mean, the plan was just I pushed him as far as I could. It's me time, and try to get the first win and just get around him. I feel like I could have got maybe a little bit closer to him, side draft a little bit better, but I mean, there was, I'm pedal down. I'm not gonna risk wrecking him, because one of us is gonna come out with it, but. I mean, yeah, just getting as close as I can.
Well, you definitely made it as close as you made. Put on a great show right there. Come to line unofficially 8/1000ths of a second between the two of you there at the line. Before we let you go celebrate this great second place finish here tonight, do you have any shout outs for any sponsors, friends, family watching at home?
Yeah, I mean, of course, Jacob Cochran, and David Moyer, ex-teammate, and Andy Berry, Morgan Cook, and you guys, and Alex Pollock, Evic Janik for being in the chat and stuff like that, and just downtown auto sales, baby.
Yeah, great sponsor plug there at the end as well. And man, great performance tonight. Way to overcome the adversity and gave us one heck of a finish right there at the line. That's Michael Cole, our second place finisher tonight. Great run out there, man. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Never did I expect to have a Pokemon reference intermingled with a virtual NASCAR broadcast. But folks, there's a first time for everything. We did it. We heard from our second place finisher, Michael Cole. Now we're going to hear from our winner by 8/1000ths of a second, Andy Berry, driver number 21. Congratulations, my friend. This is Ellis, Chris, and Cam in the booth. You got a copy. Andy Berry, let us know when that mic is working, my friend. We're going to see if we can get Andy in here. Working with little mic technical difficulties right now. He's probably going into his settings, adjusting it. We're going to hear from him in just a moment. Andy, you got a copy?
Yeah, now I got a copy. I switched my phone, having technical issues.
Well, man, congratulations on. I never counted you out, but you kind of came out of nowhere there in the final, third of the race, and talk to us about. Let's start at the end. First of all, that finish. What did you have to do to stave off Michael Cole there? What were you thinking? Once that wreck happened, we'll get to that wreck in a moment. But once that wreck happened in your rearview mirror, it was in your rearview mirror. What were you thinking about? And I know you probably didn't see Cole there until the back straightaway, but what was going through your head?
So, yeah, I mean, crossing the whenever the wreck was kind of going on, I mean, I didn't expect. I was pushing hard at the end of that, but I didn't expect the wreck to happen really. So I was just kind of locked in on the bottom lane, and all of a sudden I saw a car just get turned, and I was like, and when I saw it happen, I just dropped low. I was like, I'm getting out of the way. And the moment I did that, I said, oh my God, I'm on by myself in the front stretch, brother. You know what I'm saying? So all of a sudden it was me and David, and we were just battling out like 2 bald eagles down the straightaway there. And then thanks to my teammate, Michael Cole, of BPR, he was able to catch my draft, and he gave me a huge push at the end. And to have a little bit of fun, he tried to push and get the race win too. So it was a good little battle. But the push, I think, really finished off me being able to get the checkered. So that was nice of him. So I know he's egging to get a first place finish, but he'll get there eventually because he's a great driver.
Man, we enjoyed every single minute of it. I know we had our fair share of carnage over the course of the race, but
Yeah.
you know, first race of the season jitters, that is definitely bound to happen.
For sure.
What are you most excited about this season? With this new, I guess, O'Reilly, we can't call it Xfinity car anymore, at least for 2 more weeks we got with the Xfinity car.
Right.
But
Yeah.
in this Downtown Auto Sales National Series, what are you most looking forward to?
I mean, tonight, you saw how many people got into this season so far. I mean, it was a 30 plus car turnout. A lot of the drivers who entered tonight, I mean, awesome drivers. I mean, like I said, like you said earlier, I mean, first race of the season, if you're new to the league, you know, a little bit of jitters, a little bit of nerves, so it's bound to happen. But once the jitters got out, I mean, I saw some pretty solid driving, you know, from most of the field there. So looking forward into the season, you know, as we get everything kind of getting situated and everything like that, I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be a really good push to the final or for the playoffs and to the championship. So I really appreciate everyone who came out tonight. I hope they continue to be in the season and to the, you know, enjoy the league because we try to do our best with all that.
Oh man, I am. I know we enjoyed it. We got our fair share of action tonight, and we are looking forward to the rest of the season with you guys. And I think we got it off to a great start tonight with 8 1,000ths of a second. Does not really get much closer than that. So before we let you go celebrate that victory, you got any shout outs for the fans, sponsors, family at home? Yeah,
I want to first thank my fiance letting me kind of, you know, do this as a hobby and run the league and everything like that. I want to thank Michael Cole, teammate at BPR. We had some affiliates out there, Evan and Alex, and a couple other people. I want to thank Morgan and Sean doing race control. They're doing a fantastic job getting with the ropes and everything. I want to thank Downtown Auto Sales for sponsoring this whole entire season. Without them, you know, it's companies like them that really make league and iRacing sponsorships and races a really great time. So we want to shout out to y'all as well. Fantastic broadcast. We're really excited for the entire season for y'all to come on and do what you do best as being one of the top leaders in the broadcast business for iRacing and eSim racing and everything like that. So shout out Diesel Laptops as well. And I'm pretty sure that is it. And yeah.
Well, man, we are. I know we are definitely looking forward to this season, and congratulations on that win tonight, man. You were there at the end when it counted. Go celebrate that victory, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Yes, sir. See y'all next week.
Absolutely, Andy Berry, your winner tonight. Well, boy, what a great race. So many storylines to follow throughout. It ended up being a race of attrition at the end, but Andy Berry, Michael Cole, and David Moyer were there in the end when it counted, and we're getting this season off to a hot start at Daytona on the beaches here. And Chris, any takeaways from tonight and things you're looking forward to the rest of the season?
Yeah, a great night of racing here. You know, Daytona never disappoints. It's a great, you know, we mentioned it before, Ellis. It's a great opportunity race for many drivers. You know, I think that a lot of people have, you know, an idea about Daytona, you know, is that, you know, it's a, you know, it's, you know, they look at it and kind of, you know, shrug a little bit. Oh, it's just Daytona. But, you know, this place, it requires a different type of skill set, and it still requires skills. It's just different than, you know, a lot of other tracks. And, man, I'm so excited to see these drivers for the rest of the season. You know, I know, and you know, so many of these drivers, we've raced against several of them. We've watched them, you know, in other race series and other leagues also as well. So we're aware of the talent out here. And there's also a lot of new guys that I've never called before, in races. And I'm so excited to see them. Next week we're going to Las Vegas, I think it is. And,
Yes.
the week after that's Texas. So, those are, 2 mile-and-a-half tracks, very different types of mile-and-a-half tracks. So we're going to see some, a great, diverse schedule this season. And I can't wait to see it all unfold.
I think it's going to be a great one. Speaking of those drivers, old and new, I think it's a great opportunity to go ahead and look at our finishing results here tonight for this Daytona race. Looking through your winner, obviously, Andy Berry, Michael Cole, David Moyer finished third. Tyler Merkel, we saw him around in the mix most of the evening, brings it home fourth in that Hot Wheels machine. Tyler Hensley was there when it mattered in the end, fifth in that number 53 machine. Vincent Short, it was kind of a night of ups and downs and comes up a little short, but he finishes in the sixth position. Dan Berg finishes seventh in that number 46 machine with Dustin Lewis, who we saw lead, had a hot rod most of the race, finishes in the eighth position. Probably not going to be happy with that eighth, but still top 10. 46, Bradley Minor led or up front much of the race. He settles for ninth position. And then Evan Janik again in the closing laps of this race was up front, but got caught up in some of that closing chaos here at Daytona. That's your top 10.
Yeah, we'll move on to 11 through 20 right here. Chris Polson in the Taco Bell ride. He's going to finish in the 11th spot. Casey Bristow, man, thinking back what could have been right there in the close, he said just taking a wild ride down the front stretch as the field received the white flag. I know that he wishes that he could rewind this and go back and, maybe things would work out differently. Bryce Hinton right there is going to finish 13th in the 28 machine. Saw him in the chat right here. Sorry about your issues that you had. Yeah, I think that iRacing did have some issues tonight as far as connection goes. So, yeah, definitely sorry about that. I know that's a difficult break. Mark Cofield's going to finish in 14th in the 97. Brandon Waldrop, teammates Dan Berg, is going to finish in 15th in the number 50. Tyler Honeycutt, he persevered all night despite his damage to bring it home in 16th. Donnie Honeycutt, man, this 18th place finish right here does not reflect his actual finishing position. He actually finished in the 17th spot. I'm noticing like a little glitch right here.
Yeah, I think what ended up happening is Jacob Schumacher got a DQ, and it kind of threw. It was a late post-race DQ, and it kind of threw off the finishing results here.
Yeah, Enoch Honeycutt going to bring it home in 18th. And Ryan Bittler right here is going to show up. It says 19th, and I think that he is actually going to finish Ellis in the I think that you're right. I think he is going to finish in the 19th position.
Yep. And then moving on through the rest, Ryan Bittler, you mentioned 19th. I'm trying to look at everything else. We'll call it like it is up here. It's not official yet, but Bill Hull finishes 21st. Gavin Hinson is going to finish 20th, it looks like. MJ Palmer, 22nd. Alex Pollock, tough night for Pollock early on. We've seen him show so much speed in Mystic Racing League, but tonight just in the wrong place at the wrong time. The same could be said for Brad Nelson in that number 37 machine. Zach White out early along with Trevor McCoy in that 00. Stephen Gill finished 27th. And then Morgan Cook, I believe we're getting towards the cars that did not qualify for the race. So 28 cars finished the race. The final finisher, I believe, is going to be scored as Jacob Schumacher in that 01 machine. Lots of more races this season, folks. And in fact, we're going to be bringing you the full schedule, 18 races, including a 6-race playoff. So a 12-race regular season, and then it's going to be a playoff, 6 races with a final round of 3 races. We'll talk more about that playoff format next week, but that's going to do it for tonight. Next week, we are headed to Las Vegas. Folks, if you're still watching live or you're watching the replay, if you haven't hit that subscribe button or the thumbs up button to like the video, do both of those. Doesn't cost you a single dime. We gave away that diecast, that Dale Jr. diecast to Ryan earlier in the chat. Plenty of more opportunities. In fact, 15 more opportunities this season to win a diecast here on Thursday nights. We will catch you next week, same time, same channel, new track. It's going to be at Las Vegas. Folks, for Ellis Thomas, for Chris Smith, and by the way, before we go anywhere, shout out to our producer, Cam Gillens, who just absolutely crushed it tonight. First race producing with us, and you would have never known it, man. Congratulations, Cam. One in the bag. We are super excited and super grateful for the job you did tonight. With that being said, folks, we're going to get on out of here. We'll pack it up. We'll head west to Vegas next week. We hope you can join us. Make sure you check out the rest of the racing here on Slingshot TV throughout the rest of the week. We'll catch y'all next time.